Hello everyone, welcome to What If Issei Was Abandoned, Lost Everything and Got Complete Bakugan Powers movie. Before we start, please go support Excel Maximus Drive for writing that awesome fanfic. This is the translated version I made. There will be some mistake in character's gender, but of course Issei is a male. Issei is abandoned by all the factions of the Alliance and his parents. Not satisfied with this, take Draig away from him to give him to a demon who is stronger and leave him dying. But it turns out that he is chosen by the power of one of the guardians of atributos, choosing him to be the new protector of not only his world but of Vestrolla and other worlds. Along with his other chosen companions, they will be the new guardians of the 6 attributes. Chapter 1: Betrayal and the Chosen. We see a dying brown-haired man with cuts and burns all over his body. Yes, that is Issei Hayadao, the former Security. But why is he the former Security? Well, let's see. 4 months before. 4 months ago was the victory against the dress of the Apocalypse Triaxa. That days later appeared a high-class demon called Ken, where he defeated him in a fight where the girls who swore love to him abandoned him for being weak and took out his pawn pieces that was cured by Asia so that he would not die. Then he went to the human world. Issei, Draig, this can't be happening to me, he said with a lost look. Draig, I know you're friends, but you still have your parents, he said, encouraging his partner. Then they arrived at the Hayadao residence where all the faction leaders and the Gremry and Citri entourages were. Issei, what's up? Zerzek, we are here to desist you. Welcome to the underworld, he said coldly. Issei, what did he say, shocked? Azazel, either did Grigori say. Michael, not in heaven either. Odin, not in Asgard either. Yasaka, not in Kyoto either. Pai, yes, and whoever isn't welcome, said poisonously. Me, it can't be that I gave birth to a useless pervert, she said with hatred. Issei was in shock, everything he gave was just to be treated like that. Sona, yes, and don't even think about coming near the academy or else I'll kill you, she said with hatred. Rias, yes, my Ken is much better than you, he said. Kuroka, I can't believe I wanted children from an idiot. Valley, my rival is useless. All yes, they said. Issei felt as if something inside him broke. Everything he did was for nothing, but what Zerzek said made Draig's blood boil. Zerzek, and we'll take Draig away from you and give him to Ken. Draig's sad face, not even crazy Zerzek Gremry will separate me from my partner, he said at the limit. Azazel, shut up, you're just an object. Draig, partner, it's time for the funny escape, he said in his mind so that Issei nodded. Rias, Kiva Zenovia hold it said so that those mentioned could grab it. Odin, last words. Issei, yes, balance breaker shouted to put on his armor and hits Kiva and Zenovia, Irina breaking the ceiling. Zerzek, catch him, he said so everyone would go. For months Issei evaded supernatural beings until one day in the forest he was attacked by Penemu, Gabriel, Seraphil, Kuroka, Rias, Akeno, Zenovia, where they began to extract him, where he spoke for the last time with Draig. Draig, goodbye buddy, it was a pleasure to be with you, he said sadly. Issei, calm down Draig, thanks for always being there for me, he said with tears. Draig, yes, I have something to tell you, he said with a feminine voice that surprised Issei. Then a red light where a beautiful redhead appeared. Not applicable, let's imagine with green eyes. Issei was left with his mouth open when he saw her. Issei, beautiful, he said without thinking, making her blush. Draig, I really am beautiful, she said, still blushing. Issei nodded, still with his mouth open. Draig, Issei yo I love you scream. Issei, who is in shock because his partner is not only female, but is in love with him. Draig, yes, dude. No, she couldn't finish speaking when she was kissed by the brunette, which surprised her, but she returned the kiss until they needed air. Issei, Draig, I always loved you. You were there for me in the good and the bad. Thank you for being the only one who didn't abandon me, and I promise that I will get you back even if it's the last thing I do, so that later Draig will disappear. Draig, Issei, I love you, I will wait for you, he said with tears so that he would leave Issei's body. Outside. A red orb appears coming out of Issei's body. Penemu, Ready, we have the Red Emperor. Yasaka, what we do with it? Rias, let's let him die like the trash he is, she said with a smile as everyone left in a magic circle. Issei, I can't die, I'll go with Draig. Unknown place. A figure is seen looking through a sphere where Issei was. I think I found my successor. Returned as Issei. Out of nowhere a portal absorbed him, leaving him inconspicuous. Then he woke up in a dark place. Issei, where am I? Then I heard boos. 1. I'm dead. 2. Does anyone know where we are? 3. Who said that? Then 5 people were seen. 4. Who are you? 3. I asked the same thing. Issei, I think we should introduce ourselves. 5. I agree with him. 2. Me too. Issei, well, let me introduce myself. I'm Issei Hayadao. 1. Minato Sahashi. 2. I'm Ichica or Minura. 3. Anoka Takamiya. 4. Hidalgo Kasuna. 5. I am Yuki Rito. Ichica, well, we've introduced ourselves now. Does anyone know where we are? Issei, no. Right, nope. Kasuna, no idea. Anoka, nothing. Minato, maybe we're dead. 1. They are not dead. A loud bang was heard for 6 figures to appear. And as the writer likes to bother the characters, all kawaii, they screamed like girls grabbing a drop of sweat at 6. Everyone, really behave like that, you would think, in unison. Issei, who are you? He said. 1. We are the 6 ancient warriors of Vestrolla, said the red figure. Right, Vestrolla? 2. A world where the Bakugan live, said one of the figures that was green and sounded feminine. Anoka, they are Bakugan. 3. Bakugan are beings that possess powers of the 6 original attributes: fire, light, water, earth, wind and darkness, or as we know it, Pyrus, Geos, Aquas, Subterra, Ventus and Darkus, said a black one. Ichica, why are we here? 4. Why were they chosen? A woman said they were yellow. Issei, chosen ones? 5. Yes, boys, you were chosen to be the new guardians, said the one with the blue silhouette who looked the oldest. Kasuna, why us? Others. 6. Why, brats, we saw that you are worthy, you are pure of heart, and you care about others before yourselves, said one of the brown silhouettes. The boys were amazed to be chosen. 1. Each one will be entered by whoever chose them as their successor. At that moment orbs came out of their bodies and entered their bodies. Anoka, what was that? 6. Were the attributes of us. Issei, but what attributes will we be? 3. Well, Issei will train with Apollinaire in the Pyro element, Minato will train with Lara Liano in the Geos element, Ichica with Overus in the Ventus element, Kizuna with Frosh in the Aquas element, Rito with Krafe in the Subterra element, and Anoka with me in the Darkus element. So my name is Exedra, he said. Frosh, for that, we will enter a special dimension. Ichica, how long will the training last? Krafe, he said it for about 200 years, so everyone's jaw dropped. Everyone, we will die before the training is over, they shouted hysterically. Apollinaire, don't worry, it will only take 5 years, and also, since they have our powers, they will live forever. The only way they will die is in battle. That made their jaws drop. Overus, if they also don't feel amber or sleep in that dimension. Exedra, okay, everyone go with your teacher, he said, so that each one would go with the teacher that they had. Lara, okay, let's go in, she said, opening a portal where everyone entered. Dimension 200 years later / real world 5 years later. It seems that from a portal 12 silhouettes came out, where 6 were smaller, which were our protagonists, where they began to scream. Everyone, I am free, they said happily. The only thing that changed is that they grew taller and more muscular. While the other 6 silhouettes had that they were the ancient warriors who had a drop of sweat. Exedra, sigh, they'll never change. Apollinaire, they are like that. Krafe, good brat, yelled for them to look at him. Their training is over and they will be sent back to their worlds. Issei, stop your train, AI, like what worlds? Apollinaire, you all come from different dimensions. That's what everyone will be shocked about. Ichica, that means we won't see each other again, he said so that all his companions would be sad because in the time that passed they became like brothers. Lara, don't worry, we will create a special dimension where you will live, and you will be able to come and go whenever you want, she said, making everyone happy. Kasuna, what are we waiting for? Let's go, he said, so they could teleport to their new home. Everyone, wow, they said. Apollinaire, come in and rest, you deserve it, he said, so that they ran away like a soul that was carrying the devil. Frosh, do you think they're ready? Apollinaire, I don't know, but I have faith in them, he said, so they would disappear. With our protagonists. Their eyes were popping out. Because inside there were all the luxuries they could wish for. Minato, don't think our teachers exaggerated. Kizuna, what does it matter? I asked for the biggest room, he said, starting to run around the place. Anoka, no, if I arrive first, he said to follow him. Rito, those two are just like each other, he said with a smile. Ichica, yes, I will go so they don't break anything, he said. Issei, well, let's see what the place has, he said so everyone could go their own way. Unknown place spin. Serbia to a silhouette on its knees in front of a larger silhouette. My lord, everything is ready, our forces are prepared. Okay, send the first wave to any dimension, I want to see them burn, he said with a devilish smile. Back with our protagonists. They were all eating lasagna that was in the refrigerator. Rito, well, yes, in the castle. Kasuna, there are 8 floors with more than 100 rooms each with a bathroom inside, a large training camp, 5 movie theaters, 10 swimming pools on the top floor, 4 armories, 3 hereditary buildings, 10 hills, and 6 dining rooms, he said, making everyone's eyes pop out. Right, our teachers definitely exaggerated. Issei, well guys, we never talked about who we were before training, he said, making everyone lower their heads. Ichica, you're right, although my story isn't pretty at all, he said sadly. Anoka, either is mine. Issei, nor mine. All, not even mine. Minato, by chance they were betrayed, he said, receiving a nod from everyone. Issei, I start like this by telling you about the supernatural, how he was abandoned and how his partner Draig/future girlfriend was taken from him. Minato, well, I was a student who couldn't get into the university, then without realizing it, they put me in an egg of a crazy man who thought he was a god called the Sekirei plan, which basically consisted of kissing a Sekirei to obtain her wings. I had 6 in total until that fateful day arrived. Ichica, what happened? He said to the new guardian Geos. Minato, well. Flashback. Minato is still beaten and badly wounded. Mainto, why girls? It's not a hobby because it's weak, said a blonde. You're right, the good thing is that the Sekirei plan is over and we no longer have to be together with you, said a silver-haired man with hatred. You embarrass me as a son, it can't be that you couldn't even get into the university, said an older silver-haired woman. Minato, Mom said with tears. Shut up, you have no right to talk to my mother, I am the only one who deserves to call her that, you call her Takamp, said a blue-haired girl. Let's get out of here already, said a woman dressed in purple. Yes, I can't wait to be with Kaido, he's stronger than him, said a chestnut. Mianto, Musubi-chan, because she thought with tears. Yes, Kaido is better, but what are we going to do with him? Said an orange-haired girl. Takami, let's leave him here, no one can help him and I doubt anyone will miss him, he said so everyone could leave. While he was lying down crying, a portal absorbed him. End of flashback. Issei, wow, sorry, but they weren't attached to you. Minato, yes, but when they destroyed the building, he somehow came back from being. Ichica, tough friend, but something similar happened when he said at everyone's home. Anoka, like what he said to the new guardian Ventus. Ichica, well, where I come from, a type of armor called IS was created that could only be piloted by women. I was the exception where I entered the Infinity Stratos Institute. Right, and how they betrayed you. Ichica, everything started. Flashback. Ichica was on her way to her sister's office. After Madoka returned, things seemed strange. First, his girls, although he didn't consider them his, were avoiding him. His sisters looked at him with annoyance but didn't realize that he had arrived at the office and opened the door where his sisters were. His ex-harem was isolated. Some boys he didn't know were there anymore. But what surprised him the most was seeing his parents here. Ichica, what's up? Chifulo, we decided to expel you from the academy, he said coldly. Ichica, what did he say in shock? Madoka, you didn't listen, idiot, you're expelled, she said when she was upset. Ichica, but why? Ichi, because you are talentless, not like your sisters. She was a woman of about 40 years old, she had hair like a full head and wore a business card. Ichi, if it hadn't been for the fact that you were the first boy capable of handling an IS, you would be a nobody, although you're not the only one. The father was the same age as his wife, only with dark hair and also wearing a business suit. Ichica, what do you mean I'm not the only one? Tabane, because Ichica said with Asko they can also handle IS and unlike you they do have talent, he said what surprised Ichica as he was not the only one. Hockey, if they are also our boyfriends, he said, and Ichica will be in shock. We too said to grab our boyfriend's arm and they with a smug smile that made something inside Ichica break. Chifuyo, I want you to leave my academy, I don't want to see your face anymore. Ichi, if you are a disgrace to the Orimura family. Without saying anything, she cried as she left the office and the academy went to a tree to cry. Ichica, why, he thought with tears, a portal appeared and took him away. 5 flashback. Ichica, and so on until you appear in the middle of nowhere, she said with a sad tone remembering it. Issei, guys, I have an idea. Which one? Issei, I don't feel intuition but I know that all of us who were scorned by our family said so everyone should bow down. Kasuna, the point. Issei, that we change our last names to the elements that we are, he said, making them think for a moment before saying. Minato, I agree. Kasuna, me too. Right, I want to leave my old life. Anoka, okay. Ichica, I think it's a good idea. Issei, well, I will be Issei Pyrus. Minato, I'm Minato Geos. Ichica Ventus. Right, I write underground. Anoka, I will be Anoka Darkus. Kasuna, I will be Kasuna Aquos. Issei, well, so begins our new life as the new guardians of the attributes, he said raising his paw. If they said to raise their fists too. Chapter 2 Stories of Betrayal and Seeking What You Love. After that they sat down again. Issei, well who yes what? Rito, well I was a normal student until an alien named Lala appeared, then I lived many things and I had fallen in love with her just like other girls until the… Minto the? I asked the new underground guardian. Rito, well… Flashback. Rito was going home, things had changed, Lala Lano treated him like before, Yami despised him, more than usual, and the rest of the girls attacked him with depression and disgust. His parents scolded him for anything and his sister didn't even speak to him, and asked why they were like that until he got home, and they were all there and a boy he had never seen before. Rito, what's up? Ringo, Rito, I want you to leave the house, Rito's mother said with hatred. Right, why? Sigh, because our new son Kaneki said so, said Rito's father pointing at the black-haired man. Lala, yes, and he's also my new fiancé. All also ours, except Yami. Yami, and he's not a pervert. Rito inside felt something break. Ringo, I want you to leave my house now and we'll throw away your things to give our son some space. He said, making Rito feel more pain inside. Calm down mom, I'll take care of it, he said, grabbing Rito and forcefully throwing him out the window into a park. With right. Rito was lying on the boat where he had cuts from the glass and was bleeding from his head. Right, that I made them so that they would treat me like this, he said to nothing, starting to saw the children to go to the beyond until they suddenly opened to see that a portal absorbed him. End flashback. Right, this is where it ended. Ichica, friend, you said that girl was an idiot, but I didn't believe that much. Rito, Yes, before I had desires for revenge when I obtained power, but when Master Crave said that he chose me for being who I am and not a person of revenge, it was all feelings of revenge. Issei, you are not the only right. I also felt desire for revenge and I think everyone does too, but our teachers did not teach us that revenge is useless. All yes. Issei, well, who's next? Anoka, that would be me. Well, my world was inhabited by two types of witches, the witches of the tower and the witches of the workshop. The witches of the workshop protected humans. I had a being inside me that was the White Princess. I don't remember if it's like that, forgive me. She was very powerful and had a fiancé named Ichica Kagari. I fell in love with her, but she didn't feel the same. Issei, how? Anoka, well. Flashback. We see an Anoka bleeding out with a mortal wound in the chest and cuts in a state of, please kill me. Anoka, Kagari-san, why? Kagari, you were just a target I had to fulfill, he said coldly. Anoka, what they said in shock. Minutes before. Anoka was walking quietly home from school and he was beaten up, which is no surprise to him. But what surprised him was seeing Kagari looking at him with cold eyes, but he didn't realize that when he got home his mother, Kagari, Kagari's mother were there. Anoka, Mom, what's up? Kamachi, nothing, son, just that Kagari-san is looking for you, said Cold Deform, which surprised me. Anoka, what does Kagari-san need me for? He said. Kasani, it's for something important, go, it's in the forest, go and don't make her waste time, she said venomously, which scared him and he didn't argue and left. You were always an idiot, he thought with a sadistic smile. With Anoka. He was going through the forest wondering why Kagari-san needed him, and why his mother and Kagari's mother were like that until he saw a figure that was Kagari. Anoka, Kagari-san, what's going on? He said, not receiving a response for 5 seconds until he felt a terrible pain in his chest where he looked down, and a dagger stuck in his body. Anoka, Gaia screamed to fall to the ground to be cut multiple times by that sword. Back to the present. Anoka, what are you in shock? Kagari, the witches of the workshop decided that they were not a good possessor of the White Princess, so we had to kill to find a good possessor, he said coldly. Now he said so that a white light came out of Anoka and passed to Kagari. Kagari, goodbye, Anoka, Takayami said to get on his broom and leave. Anoka, it seems like it's the end, but at that moment a portal appears that suggests it. Fin flashback. Anoka, that's how it was. If it weren't for Master Exedra I would be dead. Issei, you're not the only one. Ichica, well, who's missing? Kasuna, that would be me. Rito, and what happened to you? Kasuna, well, crying, I come from a world where humanity is at war with an empire from another dimension, which was the Empire of Atlantis, where humanity was almost destroyed by not creating special armor, only that when they joined their reactor if it reached series it died, so they needed me. Right, why ate I? Kasuna, because he was the only one who could recharge them. Ichica, them. Kasuna, if they were all girls. Anoka, and how did you recharge it? Kijun, well, blushing, had to, whispering. Right, what? Kasuna, well, yo-yo. Ichica, say it once and for all. Kasuna, I had to do perverted things with them, he said, blushing to the max, then he covered his mouth. Everyone looked at him with a face like a bucking idiot. Issei, seriously. Kasuna, yes, and don't look at me like that, I wasn't the one who chose to recharge them like that. Right, then who was it? Kijun, my mother used them, then she abandoned me when I was a child because I was no longer useful. Issei, wow, really, that's what he told you as a child? Kasuna, yes, but what hurt me the most was... Flashback. After making the peace treaty with Atlantis, the land has begun to rebuild itself, and the return of his mother. Niuda Hidalgo. He had gone to Atlantis but came back. He thought they could be a happy family. He was wrong. Since she arrived, she hasn't spoken to her sister. She treats him with contempt, and the girls treat him badly. He wondered what was happening, but finally he was called to his sister's office. Riri Hidalgo. When he arrived, his sister, his mother, and the girls from his team were there, except Sylvia. Reiri, Kasuna called you here for a reason, she said coldly. Kasuna, who said something scared by his sister's behavior. Nayuta, easy flat, we need you, she said colder than ice. Ain, yes, we have to be groped by you, she said with disgust. Not applicable. Here are all the girls except Loli is in the office. Hayu, if your perverted hands can't even touch me. Farah, if he doesn't ask to be that he cries, the great Farandol has been touched by an idiot. Kasuna was in shock not only for being a tool for his mother again, but being disrespected by those he considered family. Nayuta, the Empire of Atlantis is in favor of you being expelled, so go before we regret it, he said venomously. Without further ado, Kasuna left, and when he closed the door behind him, he began to cry, running out of the school to stumble down the stairs, bleeding a little, lying in the well. Kasuna, again I was just a little tool, he said with tears so that a portal would rush to his side and suck him in. End flashback. Kasuna, that's how it ended. Anoka, you were used the worst 2 times. Kasuna, I know, but if there is a person that I still care about and I turn around for her. Issei, I also have someone to go for. Minato, me too. Rito, well, it's time to sleep, let's go. He said so everyone will leave the dishes in the sink to wash tomorrow, bunch of lazy people XD, and everyone can go to their rooms. Issei, tomorrow I'll come for you, Draig said to fall asleep. Next tomorrow. The light reached the window of a chestnut tree that began to moan and wake up. Issei, yawn, well today hired by Draig said to take a shower and put on clothes which were a red shirt, black pants and also black shoes ready to go, but saw Ichica in the main dining room. Issei, good morning. Ichica, yawns, good morning, where were you? He said curiously. Issei, boy for my girl. Ichica, are you ready to see them again? Issei, no, but I'm not going to stand here and know that my Draig is at the hands of that idiot, he said with hatred. Ichica, good luck, she said, hoping to see the brown-haired boy come out, but he stopped. Issei, tell the guys where I went. Ichica, okay. Then Issei activated the portal and left like that dimension. Dimension DXD. We see a portal opening where our chestnut tree comes out. Issei, wow, Kwa hasn't changed at all, he said, walking through the city, noticing that he hadn't changed much until he met someone. Issei, ugh, sorry, he said, getting up, then his gaze changed to a serious one when he saw the person he least expected. I'm sorry, he didn't finish when he saw in front of him the one he thought was dead. Hayao said, surprised. Issei, good afternoon, Sona Citri said seriously. Sona, I didn't expect to see you again, Hayao, but I'm glad, she said with a smile. Issei, I would like to say the same, but I would be lying, and don't call me Hayao now, I am Issei, Pyrrhus said seriously. Sona, but your last name is Hayao, she said, surprised by the change of last name. Issei, well, he just said something annoying. Sona, you're still upset, he said sadly. Issei, not like you think, just because they betrayed me and threw me away like garbage has nothing to do with it, he said sarcastically. Sona, I mean Pyrrhus, I couldn't finish because I was interrupted by the brown-haired guy. Issei, save it, I don't care what you say, he said, continuing on his way, leaving a sad brunette. Sona, I'm sorry, Issei said as tears came out, I have to tell Zerzek. She thought to look for an alley and activate a magic circle. With Issei. Issei, it can't be that she's really that impolite. Now she'll call the factions, but that makes things easier for me, he thought. Underworld Castle Gremory. Serbia at a table, the leaders of the factions of the demons, angels, fallen angels, sad. Zerzek, any idea where he is? He said sadly. Seraphil, are you sure he didn't die? Michael, no, when we found out about Ken's intentions, we went to look for him where Gabriel said he was, but his body wasn't there and he couldn't disappear. When we removed his pawn pieces, he became a dragon. Azazel, we can't tell you anything, otherwise it could hurt Rias Gremory and her entourage. Seraphil, you're right, but I asked if Issei is alive, where could he be? He said sadly that she loved him, but because of her stupidity she hurt him. They were going to keep talking, but a magic circle came out of where Sona came from. Seraphil, SO, what's wrong? He said, seeing his sister sad. Sona, it's Issei, I saw him, he said, becoming shocked. Seraphil, Sotan, you're not joking, said Sarah. Sona, I didn't run into him. I tried to talk to him for a few moments, but he just treated me with indifference, and that he's now Issei Pyrus. Zerzek, we have to look for him, he said, so that everyone could attend. With Issei. He was walking, eating and drinking in some places that brought back good memories until he reached the park where his first supernatural experience took place. Issei, this is where my misfortune began, he said, so that the sky suddenly turned purple and magic circles appeared where Seraphil, Sona, Zerzek, Michael and Azazel appeared. Zerzek, how long is it? Issei-kun said with a smile. Issei-kun is coming, I'm healthy, like a dirty little shit, he thought angrily. Hello Zerzek Grammy, what do you want? He said seriously. Michael, we just want you to come with us, he said. Issei, if I remember correctly, they told me that Grigory and the rest of the factions were forbidden to go to the underworld, he said seriously, making those present feel even more guilty. Azazel, but that's the past, we just want to talk. Issei, maybe it's the past, but I left scars, and if you want to talk, gather the other factions so that at once. Zerzek, well, it will be at Qua Academy in 1 hour, I hope you are there. Issei, believe me, I will be, he said as they left in a magic circle. Issei, sigh, this will definitely be annoying to move near Qua Academy. 1 hour later. Must in the middle of the hall all the factions, the strongest Queen Grafia, the entourage Gremory, and Citri Penemu Gabriel, the team of Vala, the parents of Issei and Kunu. Odin, are you sure? Bendra said. Zerzek, yes, he was the one who asked for the meeting. Girls excepto Grafia. My Issei, you came back for me. I think you're happy thinking that the brown-haired boy came back for them. Issei's parents, son, you're back, we'll apologize, they thought. Then a servant was seen with Issei. Then the servant left, leaving Issei. Odin, brat, I'm glad to see you. Issei, it's already a headache for me to see you, old man, he said, surprising everyone with his attitude. Yasaka, Haida-kun, we wanted to talk to you, he said. Issei, Yasaka leader, don't talk to me as if nothing was happening, and for the last time I am Issei Pyrus, said, making Yasaka feel sad and the brown-haired boy's parents feel pain. Yasaka, I'm sorry, young Pyrus said sadly. Issei, well, what do the leaders of the 3 factions want to look for me? Michael, to ask you some questions. Issei, well, just pretend I don't have all day. Azazel, first, where have you been? Issei, training with my best friends, he said, making his former friends feel a stab in his back. Azazel, like best friends. Issei, more than just my friends, they are my brothers, he said, making his former friends feel another stab. Michael, well, by the way, why are you called Issei Pyrus now? He said, asking those present to pay attention. Issei, in honor of my teacher Apollinaire Pyrus, who he considered a father, he said, making his parents, especially his father, feel pain in his heart. Well, if that's all, I'm leaving. He was going to leave but was stopped by our favorite Siskan. Zerzek, hi Issei-jun. Issei, for the last time, don't call me kun, and what do you want? Zerzek, well, I want you to return to my sister's entourage, he said confidently and making Rias happy, thinking that he would become her pretty pawn again, but no one waited for the following. Issei, jajajajaha jajajajaha. Issei laughed as if he had been told the joke of his life. Rias, my Issei said that they are funny, not understanding why I was laughing at the proposal. Issei, calming down, seriously, do you think I'll come back just like that? Are you stupid? Also, why do you think I would be part of it again? He said, getting serious. Akeno, why do you love us? He said, making all the girls look at him. Issei, of course he didn't say it, making the girls' hearts break, and with nothing, now I'm leaving, he said to leave, but then he took a shower. Why do I have to come? Because Ken is also part of the line. Then the doors opened to see a black-haired man. Issei, Ken said coldly. Chapter 3 Getting My Draig Back. Let's see the chestnut in front of a guy, cough cough, I say to the boy who caused him misfortune. Ken, look, but if the garbage is here, these idiots can't do anything right, he said mockingly. Issei said, a brunette and a redhead. Issei. Hello, Lord and Lady Gremory said seriously. Venelana, you're here, that means you'll come back, she said happily. Issei. No, Lady Gremory, I just came to make it clear that I will not return and that you do not look for me, he said. Zudikos, but the girls miss you. He said, seeing him like all the girls. Greyfire was sad just because she considered him a little brother. Issei. I don't care about them anymore, he said, so that everyone had tears. Rias. Issei couldn't finish because she was interrupted by Ken. Ken, shut up, laugh, you're mine like the others. I don't know why they're looking for trash like him. Issei. So they traded me for this idiot. I already knew they were stupid, but not that much, he said, making everyone lower their heads while Ken had an hour. Ken, what did you say, trash? He shouted furiously, going to hit him. Ria's parents tried to stop him, but what happened left everyone in shock. Instead of a beaten Issei, there was an Issei holding Ken's fist. Ken, but what? Issei, I'm not the same one you fought with, idiot, he said, hitting Ken in the stomach, knocking out his air. Azazel, whispering, Issei is stronger than before, but he can't beat Ken. He told Zerzek that at that moment an idea occurred to him. Zerzek, stop, he said, so they would stop and everyone would look at him. Issei, an ATI said with a raised eyebrow. Zerzek, let's have a one-on-one writing game, you against Ken said. Issei, and I doubt that's all, he said analytically. Zerzek, you're very analytical here. Well, if you lose you'll come back to us, he said, making everyone look at him. Issei, well said, making everyone happy. But so that everyone could see the brown-haired boy, if he won they will give me back Draig, he said. Zerzek, Echo said confidently. Michael, we're going to the pocket dimension where there was a Roman Colosseum where in the stands you could see everyone who was in the room. Graphia, hello, I am Graphia Lucifer, wife of Mouse Lucifer, and I will be the referee. This fight will be broadcast to all factions. It is the fight between the former Securudii Issei Hyo, sorry Issei Pyrus, and Ken, the Securudii. The fight will end when the other opponent cannot continue. Ready, start? Ken, you just signed your sentence, he said, to take out the Wantalete because Pyrus sounds so familiar to me. Issei, that would be you, he said, so that both of them with their fists are bare-knuckled while Ken with the glove Draig holds on. It won't be long before we're together, he thought while he continued fighting. In the stands. The spectators in the stands and those watching the fight from their homes were very impressed with how Issei fought Ken with his fists. Some people thought they should recruit him or bribe him to join, but in the stands. Azazel, the boy is stronger than ever because he is a dragon. Alvio, not really, said the white dragon from Vala's back. Michael, you mean those? Alvian, who by extracting Draig's dragon essence is now just a human, said, making everyone's eyes wide open. Rias, but how can he fight that idiot if he's a human? She said, surprised. Alvian, I don't know, so that everyone would return to the fight. In the sand? There is a Ken breathing heavily while Issei was fresh. Issei, this is the best you have to despise. Ken, Kai, damn balance breaker. Ken, now if he dies, he said, to go at maximum speed to hit Issei, raising a cloud of dust where everyone in the stands was worried, but all the people who were watching were in shock when they saw that Issei was holding Ken's fist like a Sinida. Ken, what did he say without believing it? Issei, let's finish this, he said, to hit him and throw him against the wall, breaking his armor and leaving him badly injured. She can say that I win so that they can give me Draig with a kiss, he said, annoyed. Gryphia, winning is she couldn't finish when a laugh was heard and it came from Ken. Ken, ha 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 ha, he laughed like a maniac. Issei, and what drugs did you take? Ken, silly, the glove was just for playing time to show who I am, he said, so that a dark aura surrounded him, and he changed into armor. Everyone present was amazed, but it changed to one of terror when he raised the power until he could feel himself on the edge of a big red. Ken, now I will destroy you and this world will be my lord, said Crazy Flame. Issei, my lord. Flashback. The boys were there in the last days of training and they were all there. Their teachers seemed a bit distressed. Issei, Master, what's wrong? Apollinaire, boys, we chose you to be guardians because an ancient evil has awakened, he said, making all the new guardians surprised. Lara, yes, his name is Naga and he is like the one we fought eons ago. We cannot face him again. We are not strong enough to destroy him. Just lock him up with all his servants, and we cannot get out. We can only go physically from this dimension and the previous one. Ichica. So that's why they chose us too and Naga was released, he said nervously. Frosh. No, but he managed to break the seal where some of his calluses came out, but it's not strong enough for him to come out. We think the weakest calluses came out, but we can't feel their hot spots. Right, do as much. Ovaris. It was like 5 months before they were elected. Anoka. So how strong are they? Etc. According to what we see, they would be the weakest, the power level of Great Red said. Monero. Then we can sell it as Sinada, but we will have to use the armor, he said, thanks to Issei telling them about the supernatural. Issei, you're right. End flashback. Issei finished his memory, then he saw him and smiled, something that Ken noticed. Ken, why are you smiling? Issei. So here's a Naga's Lakalos, he said, so that those present would look at him strangely and Ken will be in shock. Ken, how is it possible that you know who my teacher is? He said, surprised. Issei, easy, because my master gave it to me. Ken, who is your teacher? Issei, Apollinaire Pyrrhus said, making Ken go into shock. Ken, it can't be, my master destroyed them. Issei, I don't know, they just can't leave that dimension, he said, and now I'm Issei Pyrrhus, a student of the former Vestrolla warrior Apollinaire, guardian of the Pyrrhus attribute, shouted the last part so that a strange sign for everyone, except for Issei and Ken, rushed over him and covered him. When the missing symbol, Issei was wearing an armor that no one had seen before, where everyone was amazed. Issei, let's go, he said, to take out a sword covered in fire and cut. Ken, Aya! Cry of pain. Issei, take this firestorm, said Nara, be sprayed by fire and look like a tornado. Asia Ken, who seriously hurt them, leaving him very injured. Then Issei grabbed and took his arm and began to extract Draig. Ken, Aya! He screamed in pain, then a red sphere came out of him and entered Issei's body. Issei, it's over, he said, grabbing his sword, and they crossed where his body became dark and disappeared. Then he went up the steps still in his armor. Then a female voice sounded from Issei's glove, surprising everyone. Draig, Issei really rested it, said from the bousticure with tears. Issei, of course, my little dragon said, making the girls boil with jealousy. Zerzek, Issei, why do Draig sound like a girl? Issei, she's a girl, he said, making his eyes almost pop out, and Albion had a heart attack. Michael, that means Draig was always a girl, he said, still in shock from the news. Issei, yes, she is also my girlfriend, future wife and mother of my children, he said, making the girls boil with jealousy, and leaving Draig blushing and with thoughts that are not at all holy. Rias, and know that hitch will not take you from my side, screamed, releasing the power of destruction. Issei, Rias Gremory, I kindly ask you not to treat my girlfriend like that or I won't respond, he said seriously, increasing his aura, taking her to the ground. Besides, you are no one to tell me who to be with. Zerzek, you're still here, her fiancé said, as everyone looked at him. Issei, and what do I care? Aiken, Issei, we are sorry, he said with tears. Kaneko, Issei-senpai, come back, said a Kaneko just like Kuroka, only with white fur. Zenobia, I don't want the father of my children to leave, she said with tears. Asia, Issei-san, please, with tears. Rosewise, please, Issei. Ravel, remember the promise you made to your parents. Irina, Issei, I don't want my childhood friend to leave because I love you, she said with tears. Kiva, please, friend. Penemu, Issei, please. Gabriel, Issei, please come back with us. Kuroka, let's go Naya to be with our future offspring, Naya said. Pai, son, we forgive you for not being right. Me, son, please come home. Yasaka, Issei, please come to Kyoto with me. Kunu, I want my hero back. Issei, things are not fixed with a simple apology. I will only tell you that I do not want to be revenged and that I forgive you, but I do not want to see anything with you. Zerzek, come on Issei-kun, be happy with them, he said. Issei, I'm sorry, but the only one I'm going to be happy with is my Draig, he said to leave but was stopped again. Rias, Issei, please, I'll take, you said with tears. Issei, I'm sorry you laughed, but I realized that you only have a mind nail, he said. Zerzek, Issei respects my sister, he said, annoyed. Issei, and you have a Ziskan, he said, then a slap was heard, which was the Venezuelan one. Venelana, I forbid him from insulting my children, she said angrily. Issei, Ja, to be anxious is strong, said. Making Venezuelan angry. Me, son, I know we made a mistake and we regret it, but it's no reason to treat us like that, he said, because of his son's behavior. Issei, it will be and it will be. Hayadao, please don't get involved, he said, making his parents hurt. Michael, Issei, I need you to tell us everything you know. Azazel, yes, and he said, thinking about that armor to study it. Issei, it's none of your business, my companions and I will take charge, he said, to open a portal, and again they stopped him and he was already getting tired. Gabriel, Issei, please. Issei, for the last time I will not return with you, damn Impactiro's son of Asu. He did not finish when he heard Draig's voice. Draig, Issei, what is that vocabulary? Scolded him. Issei, sorry, but I'm leaving now, he said, to enter the portal. With the rest of the supernatural beings who were in the Colosseum, I was in shock because of Issei's vocabulary, and the girls were crying because of what he told them. Azazel, he's not the same anymore, he said sadly. Penemy, yes, but we deserve it for what we did to him. Zerzek, yes, and now that the entire supernatural world saw him with that power, they will look for him and join him to whatever place, he said seriously. Rias, yes, we have to look for him to be with us, whether he likes it or not, said Rias, receiving a nod from the girls. While all the people who watched the fight up to the part where he destroys Ken were planning how to unite them. And yeah, assholes. With Issei. He had arrived at his home where Anoka, Kasuna, Rito and Minato were, but he didn't see Ichica. Issei, hey guys. All, hello Issei. Issei, and Ichica? Right, he went on a mission sent by the masters. Issei, okay, crying, I'm going to my room, I have someone to talk to, he said, to go up to his room and close the door. Then he entered his mental space, where upon entering he was tackled by a redhead hugging him. Draig, crying, Issei said, crying with happiness. Issei, calm down, my little dragon, and I will never leave your side again, he said with a smile, kissing her, and she reciprocated. Then they separated due to lack of air. Issei, I have a surprise for you, he said, so he would take out red energy, where he woke up and saw a red sphere coming out of his body and a red light where Draig came out. Draig, I'm free, he said happily. Issei, yes, but what is your real name, or is it Draig? Draig, haha, of course not, silly, my name is actually Akeno, said. Issei, much cuter than Draig, said, to grab my waist and kiss her. Akeno, I love you, my guardian. Issei, and I love you, my dragon. With Ichica. I was on a subway going to some kind of academy. Ichica, he turned around and said something nostalgic and sad. Chapter 4 Festival. Flashback. After Issei left, Ichica stayed in the main dining room washing the dishes that weren't washed yesterday. Afterwards, the rest went under. Rito, good morning. Then I noticed that Issei were not there. Ichica, he went to his dimension for his girl. Anoka, wow, so soon. Minato, do you think it will be okay? Kasuna, calm down, Issei is the strongest. If you try to attack him, he won't even use 2% of his power. Minato, you're right. Then an alarm was heard and they went to the room where there was a kind of teacher's pilgrimage. Apollinaire, guys. Right, what's happening? Etc. We felt the energy of the Naga servants in one dimension. It was very little energy, but we still need one after you go. Anoka, what is the dimension? Overus, It's Ichica's dimension, he said, making the aforementioned man's eyes widen. Minato, it's a joke, he said in disbelief. Lara, it's not, and that's why we need Ichica to go, she said, making sure everyone had a serious face. Kasuna, this must be a joke because he specifically. Krafe, why brat, the cone knows the place perfectly. Ichica, which place? Overus. The IS Academy said that the aforementioned felt that the universes hated him. N/A's surprised face, only the writer likes to see him suffer. Ichiak, sigh, fine we will, he said, making all his friends look at him. Rito, are you sure? Ichica, yes, I did have to face it one day, but I didn't think it would be so soon. Apollinaire, fine, when you're ready, he said, making the hologram disappear. Ichica, okay, she said, going to her room to get some clothes ready, and saw a credit card with a letter that said, Ichica. This credit card is for you to spend the necessary time. Master Overus. P.S. He has infinite money. Ichica. Thank you, teachers, she said, her eyes wide open, for a credit card with infinite money, and went down to where the rest were. Right, goodbye. Minato, good luck. Anoka, kick his ass. Kasuna, goodbye, friend. Ichica, thanks guys, tell Issei I left, she said, opening a portal and entering. Infinity Stratos dimension. A portal opened in an alley where I get on the subway going to the academy. Ichica, I came back and said something nostalgic and sad. Inside the academy, it saw two girls who were Madoka and Chifulo Orimura. Both, I miss you, brother, they thought, continuing to cry until a knock was heard. My daughters, let's go out. Madoka. No, mama, we don't want to, she said through tears. Chifulo, no, our brother. Me, I know it hurts, but before 5 years had passed, he should have moved on with his life wherever he is, he said sadly. Both, fine, they said they were going to take a bath, since they hadn't done it in a week. Return with Ichica. He had gotten off the subway and put on a hood and was walking through the academy to see that there were some tents and games. Ichica, the festival asked me why they celebrated at the academy? Then I noticed two men taking a person away. It seems he needs help, he said, to follow them. And in an alley he saw two men and a woman. He recognized them as his former teacher. Offender 1, come on, cutie. Don't go away, he said, forcing. Delinquent 2, we're going to do a lot of things to you, he said, to tear off a jacket. He was going to tear off his shirt until. Ichica. Stop, a scream was heard and the trees turned around and she was surprised to see it. Ichika-kun, whisper. Delinquent 1, look, someone wants to be a hero, takes out a knife, dies. He was approaching Ichica to stab him, but Ichica grabbed his arm and bent it. Aya. He screamed in pain. Ichica, I'll say it one last time, let her go or I'll send both directors to the hospital, she said, kicking the first offender. Delinquent 2, this will not stay like this, he said to grab his partner and run away. Then he approached like this, teacher. Ichica, nice to see you again, Maya-sensei. Maya, Ichika-kun, is it really you? She said nervously. Ichica, yes, Maya-sensei, he said, being hugged by the green-haired girl, hitting her breasts, making him blush wildly because they had grown more. Maya, I was worried we hadn't heard from you for 5 years. Ichica, us? Maya, yes, your parents, your sisters, and Tabane, she said, and Ichica put on a serious face. Ichica, they are not my family, he said seriously. Maya, what are you talking about? She said, scared. Ichica, well, it's because she told him what her family and her companions/harem did to her. It remains to be said that she was more than disappointed with Chifuyo. Maya, wow, Ichika-kun, I didn't know that. I'm sorry. Call me. Why don't you want to see them? I'm sorry for not doing something. Ichica, calm down, sensei. I don't blame her for anything. Besides, she's more beautiful than she was 5 years ago, he said, somewhat blushing, making the wild green-haired man blush. Maya, thank you, he said, fuming. Ichica, well, how about I accompany you to the festival? It would be good to have some fun, sensei. Maya, okay, But no medicines, sensei, I'll give you lessons. Ichica, okay, Maya-san said to grab her hand where she blushed, and they went to some games where Ichica won a stuffed panda which she was holding. Maya, thanks Ichica-kun, I haven't had fun like this in years, she said with a smile. Ichica, either do I, she said with a smile, but then a purple-haired girl with bunny ears comes out of the ground. Tabane, Ikun said to throw himself at him but in the corner so that he falls face down on the ground. Ichica, hello Tabane, Shinono said without any emotion. Tabane, Ikun, why are you talking to me like that, she said surprised and sad. Ichica, Teodabia asks, he thought angrily, please call me Ichica, he said seriously, and what are you doing here? Tabane, good, because I found your location with the tracker I put on you, he said, but received a murderous look from Ichica. Ichica, you put a tracker on me without my consent. Tabane, Ikun, I'm sorry, was interrupted by Ichica. Ichica, for the last time, I am Ichica, immature rabbit, she yelled in her face. Then there was total silence until Tabane, tears started to come out while he jumped into the pot where he came out crying. Maya, Ichica-kun, I think you went too far. Ichica, sigh, maybe, but it's incredible that he treats me like nothing has happened, he said, annoyed but calmed down when he was scorched by Maya. Inside the academy, Chifuyo was with Madoka behind the scenes while her parents were having a conference with some students, but then Tabane came out in tears. Chifuyo, what's wrong with you? I asked when I saw her crying. Tabane, it's Ikun, he's here, she said, leaving the sisters surprised where Madoka took her by the shoulders. Madoka, where? Tabane, he's at the festival with Meikun, but he couldn't finish when he saw the sisters running away, but he's not the same anymore, he said while tears came out. With Ichica, I was sitting on a bench eating ice cream with Maya. Maya, thanks for the ice cream, she said while taking another bite. Ichica, calm down, I like to see you with a smile, she said, making Maya blush slightly. Maya, Ichica-kun, do you have a girlfriend? She said while holding her ice cream and moving her fingers like Hinata. Ichica, no, I still haven't found the right girl, although I think she's closer than I think, he said, giving her a flirtatious smile making her puff out, but the moment was ruined by a voice he never wanted to hear. Chifuyo/Madoka, Ichica? They said so. The aforementioned looked at them with a monotonous face. Ichica, hello Madoka, and Chifuyo Orimura said without emotion. Madoka. Ichica ran to hug him but was stopped by him. Ichica, I don't want them to get close to me, he said seriously. Chifuyo, why do you treat us like this? We are family, she said, but they didn't realize that the paparazzi, or as I call them, funny lifeless people, were recording and taking photos. Ichica, don't compare me with that stupid family, she said dryly, surprising her sisters. Chifuyo, we respect that. That is not the behavior of an Orimura, she said authoritatively. Ichica, well, I'm not an Orimura anymore, he said. Madoka, what are you talking about? She said, somewhat surprised and hurt. Ichica, simple, now I'm Ichica Ventus, although I see her blood, which disgusts me, she said with a tone of disgust, causing emotional damage to her sisters. Chifuyo, what are you talking about? Ichica, I'm Ichica Ventus now and I'm leaving. I've already wasted too much time. Turns away from Maya. Goodbye, Maya-san said, giving her a kiss on the cheek which made her sisters boil with jealousy and Maya fuming, and he walked away calmly. But they didn't count on the fact that everything was recorded by a paparazzi who uploaded it to chismes.com, such an original name. Chifuyo, Maya, can you explain this to me? He said with a somewhat jealous tone. Maya, I should tell you that, she said seriously. Chifuyo, what are you talking about? She said nervously. Maya, she told me what they did to her and I'm disappointed, Seva. With Ichica. He had arrived at a hotel where he paid for 2 days, where he entered his room and remembered himself in bed. Ichica, I think I'll take a nap, falls asleep, but without knowing that Naga's servants were going to be the least of his problems. In different places. A lot of girls had seen what happened thanks to the page, and they all thought. Ichica, you came back with a smile. Chapter 5, Confrontation and First Wave. We see Ichica waking up. Ichica, Oh well, I have to look for that Naga. Servant gets up and Ba goes to take a bath, finish bathing, gets dressed in a sweatshirt, and I should have breakfast outside, leaves the hotel walking through the city until he sees a restaurant, and enters, where he goes to a table to ask for his order, and a blonde waitress of no more than 20 years old arrives. Waitress, can I get your order, handsome? She said something flirtatious. Ichica, unfazed, I want a ramen soup. Mizara, good choice, leaves. Ichica, well, it's better that I start feeling the aura of the Naga. Servant seriously then notices everyone in the restaurant looking at the same place. What's so good? He thought, then notices a newscast. Presenter, and people, we present to you the biggest scandal of this era. They start filming the recording, where Ichica argues with her sisters. Ichica, oh shit, this is bad, he thought, upset. Presenter, now the only son, Baron of the Orimura family, Ichica Orimura, or now Ichica Ventus, who had disappeared for 5 years, returned and confronted his sisters, the best IS pilots, Chifuyo and Madoka Orimura. The presenter says. Ichica, great, simply great, this was the only thing I was missing, he thought, annoyed at that. Everyone in the restaurant turned to look at him in surprise, and some took out their cell phones and took a picture. This was going to be annoying. With a grimace of annoyance, the waitress arrived. Waitress, sorry for the delay, gives him the ramen. Ichica, thanks, grabs some chopsticks, and they start eating, and they hear screams outside. Now that in that it looks like a limousine. Her sisters get out, and they receive screams and threats from many girls who were wearing the uniform of their former academy. Girl, they are the best, Orimura sensei. Girl 2, they are the most amazing. They ignore them and enter the restaurant, where they are directed to Ichica's table, and several people were recording this with their cell phones, and they were standing next to Ichica. Ichica, one can no longer eat calmly, and well as they need, he said indifferently while taking a bite of his ramen. Chifuyo, we want you to come with us. Ichica swallows so that he took another bite. Madoka, Ota-san and Oka-san want to talk to you. Ichica swallows again. Tell Mr. and Mrs. Orimura if they want to talk to come personally, seriously, while eating his ramen. Chifuyo, annoyed, Ichica ordered you to get into that limousine, she said authoritatively. Ichica looks at her with a "You're bucking kidding me" expression. No, says dryly. Both no? Ichica, if not, you can't tell me what to do. Waitress. I call the waitress and she arrives. Waitress, yes. Ichica, the bill please, she said, ignoring her sisters. Waitress, sure, takes out a calculator. It's 120 yen. Ichica gives him a 1,000 yen bill. Keep the change, he said with a smile. Waitress, thank you, blushes at Ichica's smile. Ichica gets up and walks past her sisters. Chifuyo, Ichica, we are not finished, she yelled at him angrily. Ichica, well, I do, he said, but then he heard a voice that petrified him and made him clench his fists. Ichica said, several girls? In the DXD dimension. Things have been very crazy after Issei left the Colosseum. The factions were looking for him like crazy so that he would explain to them who will see Naga and what kind of power they are and what they would have to be prepared for, and for their power. Underworld Castle Gremory. The Siskan and his sister were in front of a commander. Zerzek, send all available soldiers. I want you to search for the flagpole under the ground. Demon Commander, Hai said to leave Zerzek's office. Rias, brother, do you think we'll find it? Zerzek, don't know, laugh. While in other demonic houses they were also looking for Issei, but they were after his power, thinking if they found him and Asia, who promised her daughters her clan would be the most powerful. Phoenix Castle. Ravel hadn't left his room since he saw the brown-haired boy again. LDF, it can't be that my little one is suffering, said the Phoenix matriarch. LRF, yes, but we do need to find Hideout Issei so we can re-engage with our daughter. In Grigori. Azazel, Baraquiel, Penemu, Chemisail, I agree as I write, we have to find Issei. Baraquiel, Azazel-sama, we had already searched for him like crazy before he reappeared. Penemu, Baraquiel is right. Azazel, then where will he be? He could not venture across the earth. In heaven. Michael, we have to find him. He was talking to the other archangels except Gabriel, who was locked in her room. Uriel, how are we going to do it? We couldn't find it before. Michael must venture away. Griselda, I will find her to make my Lady Gabriel happy. Returned with Ichica. He was clenching his fists with a pain in his heart where behind him were all the girls he once wanted. All Ichica, some said with tears. Tadanashi Sarashiki? Kenzashi Sarashiki? Not applicable, imagine them a little older. Ichica, hello girls, he said calmly. Cecilia, well Ichica, the great Cecilia came here for you, pointing at it. Ichica, with a drop of sweat, is that she is still a believer. Charlotte, no Cecilia, I'm fine with him too. Rin, he will come with me. Laura, he is my husband. Hooky, they're not even married. That's how the 7 of them were fighting until Ichica had already reached her limit. Ichica, can you fall down? You look like preschool girls. After screaming, everything fell into a great silence, even those outside remained silent. Ichica sighs, well, why do they say I'm your husband? If I remember correctly, you have a boyfriend. Tadanashi, we had said with a bit of disgust. Ichica, eh? Somewhat confused. Hooky, it turns out that they were actually working for a terrorist organization that was with us just to gain information, she said with some sadness at that. Ichica begins to resist laughing until she can't anymore. Ichica, Jajajajajaja, was laughing like crazy on the floor, rolling from one side to the other, while everyone looked at him as if he was crazy. Kasaki, Ichika-kun, why are you laughing? He said with some tears. Ichica, ha ha ha, he calms down. Karma is very unexpected, and now it's coming for me because they were deceived. Charlotte, I know it sounds bad, but. Ichica, but nothing, if you excuse me, I have to go. He walks past the girls and goes out, where he receives hateful looks from several girls from the academy. Girl, who do you think you are, talking to them like that? Girl, as if you were better than them. Ichica, your opinions don't give a shit to me, he said disinterestedly while moving the girls to leave, but a shot that passes by him is stopped by the one who only wounded Cecilia. Cecilia, where do you think you're going? Ichica, what does it matter to him? Serious while he returned to his path, but another limousine gets in front of him. Now that 2 people get out of the limousine, an older woman and an older man both looked at him, the man serious, and the woman too, but with a serious woman, but with a small expression of joy. They were Ichica's parents. Great, what I was missing, he said, irritated, in that something happened that nobody expected but the Chifuyo sisters did. Pash, low budget sound. V. The man had slapped Ichica, but his face only turned a little to the right. But the wizard didn't even flinch. XD, seriously, he didn't even flinch. Father, disappointing, he said seriously, and Ichica was covered by her hair, and 5 years were only enough for you to become a foul-mouthed person. Now get into the limousine. Ichica, no, she said coldly. Father, what? He said, somewhat surprised but in a neutral tone. Ichica, I'm not going with you. Mother, Sunbai is interrupted by something that left her in shock as well as her daughters. Father tries to slap him again, but Ichica stops his hand by grabbing his wrist. But what in that? Ichica squeezes her grip harder, making him feel pain. Aag, he lets out a moan of pain. They tried to take his son's hand away, but his grip is too strong. Ichica, don't try to hit me again, pushes him into the limo, shoving him back against the limo. Mother and sisters, Dear/Otosan, the 3 went to their husband/father and looked to see if he was hurt, while Ichica watched this expressionlessly. Mother, Ichica Orimura, which means is interrupted by Ichica. Ichica, I am Ichica Ventus, Mrs. Orimura seriously, and Mr. Orimura attacked me and I only defended myself. Madoka, but he's your father, we're your family, with tears, but she said something that made the whole family's heart tingle. Ichica, you are nothing to me, she said coldly, just like them, she said, pointing to the girls from her ex-harem who began to shed tears and left everyone present speechless, but she said so that everyone would pay attention. I said that if they wanted to talk they would have to have Mr. and Mrs. Orimura come personally, so what do you want to talk about, she said neutrally. Mother, we could talk in the limo. Sad. Ichica, good, gets into the limousine just like her family, and they go there just like the other limousine, and leaving several people in silence, and a group of girls crying. Hooky hates us crying. Rin, Ichica is going to talk to us seriously with tears. Laura, I won't let my husband go, she said with tears, and the others nod and follow the limousines. Like Ichica. In the limousine, Akima was on the other side, where in front of him was his entire family. Me, well, what did you want to talk about? Mother, we want to know where you have been these last 5 years. Ichica, I was training, lied. Chifuyo, training for what? Curious. Ichica, to make myself stronger. Madoka, why stronger? Curious. Ichica, they don't care about that seriously. Madoka, where do you live? Waiting to know where I was. Ichica, I'm not going to tell them. Father, serious son, I know what we did was wrong, is interrupted by Ichica. Ichica, bad. That's all they're going to say, angry. Madoka, annoyed, don't behave like that. Ichica, look who said it, fourth-rate ex-terrorist, she said in a mocking way that made Madoka start to shed tears. Chifuyo, don't treat her like that, he said authoritatively. Ichica, ha, and who are you to send me so that you would end up alone and old without ever having had a boyfriend, she said very mockingly, dealing a low blow to his pride. Father, let's do something, he said, so everyone would pay attention to fight you against your sisters. If you lose, you will come back with us without opposition. Ichica, and if I win, they will stop looking for me and forget about me forever, he said seriously. The 4 members of the family were thinking if they won they would have him back, but if they lost they would never see him again. They could win or lose, and that they remember that their son/brother who has not used his eyes in years and his sisters are the best, so they had a win-win. Father, Echo will be in 2 hours. Ichica, okay, without further ado, I'm going to get off. Her father signals the driver to stop and Ichica gets out of the limo. At that, another limo appears where the 7 girls come out. Great, what do you want now? Annoyed. Charlotte, please Ichica, let us talk to you. Ichica, he has nothing to talk to me about, walks past. Cecilia stops him with her sword in front of him. Ichica, can we do this by fair means or by hand? It ends because Ichica knees her in the stomach, knocking the wind out of her, making her fall to her knees, where the girls and her ex-family saw in shock. Everyone except Ichica's parents, Cecilia. They said worriedly, going to help her, where Ichica just walked, leaving them there where her sisters Yvonne to ask for an explanation, but they saw that he was no longer there. With Ichica. He was walking calmly, going to the academy to visit Maya. He approaches the academy, where he enters, receiving longing glances from some students. He arrives at his old classroom where he plays, and I will open Maya. Maya, Ichica said, surprised. Ichica, hello, Maya said with a smile. Maya, what are you doing here? Nervous. Ichica, I came to see you, or you don't want to see me, faking sadness. Maya, what? No, I'm not surprised you came here. Ichica, he stopping acting sad, they were just trying to annoy. Maya, silly, with puffed out cheeks. A student calls Maya. Girl, Maya-sensei, who is curious. Maya, he is Ichica Ori, sorry Ichica Ventus, he is a strange student from here. Girl, he was the only boy who could handle and is another one asked. Maya, yes. Girl, but his last name wasn't Orimura, said an Alasar. Ichica, I changed it. Girl, why? Ichica, it's for personal reasons, serious. Girl, okay, a little scared like other girls by her expression, so another girl like that, a question that makes Ichica blush and makes Maya's face look like a tomato. Girl, you are Mei-sensei's boyfriend. Ichica, blushing, not yet, he said, so Maya starts to fume. While I'll be around, gives Maya a quick kiss on the cheek. See you. Maya leaves the classroom. Maya, adgadich, Ichica blush. All, kya, Maya-sensei has a boyfriend, they shouted just to make Maya more embarrassed. 1 hour and 45 minutes later. It was almost time for Ichica to face his sisters. He was going to the stadium where his siblings were already on the field, while the girls from his former harem and his parents were in the stands, and around him were students and teachers. Chifuyo, Madoka list. Madoka, ready, but then a dark portal appears. Chifwhip, what's that? At that point, people in armor start to come out. All the people didn't say a word about what Chifuyo was saying. Chifuyo, Who are they? But no answer. Madoka. Answer if you don't want to is interrupted because one of them makes a kind of cut with his sword and makes a wave of energy that sent the two to a wall at that one spoke. Kill them all, he said with a grim voice, so that more began to come out of the portal again, and began to attack those who were in the stands. The teachers and the girls from Ichica's ex-harem activated their Izzes as well as the third-year students beginning to attack them while they took out the other students and people from there. With Ichica. He had sensed the Naga servants' runs to the stadium. In the stadio. All the girls with their weapons tried to destroy them, but the bullets just bounced off and their melee weapons didn't do anything to them. Cecilia, what are they throwing these things about? Rin, I don't know, hardly dodging an energy wave. Hookie, Tabane Neka, do you know what material they are made of? Talking to her sister. Under the school. Rabanera was in front of a computer typing very fast. Tabane, I don't know, while unknown material appeared in the battle. With Ichica. He had arrived at the stadium where all the civilians and students were evacuating but was stopped by a teacher. Teacher, let him get out of here. Ichica, listen to me. In that he sees Maya shooting with her sniper at Mega's soldiers, but an energy wave hits the top and debris begins to fall on top of her. Maya at an inhuman speed reaches Maya and pushes her, and the debris falls on top of him. Maya, Ichica said in shock, to get up and tries to remove the debris. All the girls from her ex-harem and the Orimura family saw that, and tears began to come out while Aya tried to remove the debris. Ichica, no, please, you can't leave because I love you, screamed with tears. Inside the rubble. Ichica managed to bid Maya but got trapped. Ichica, cough, that's too close. Then he sees that he's trapped in the rubble and hears Maya take what he loves from him. He blushes but gets serious. Time for action. Ventus attribute. The symbol surrounds it. Out of the rubble. A green light starts to emerge from the rubble where everyone, including the Naga soldiers, stopped. Then. Boom. The rubble is destroyed, creating a cloud of dust where Maya begins to cough, then looks ahead and is shocked at what was in front of her. Not applicable, ignore the toy. Maya, Ichica said, very surprised. Ichica, yes, said his voice slightly changed by his armor. After the cloud of dust dispersed, all the people made their eyes wide, and some that Ivan was going to broadcast the fight were recording it. In that one of the soldiers screams, "Soldier! He's a guardian, kill him!" Everyone runs. Asia, Ichica. Ichica, the Cho begins, takes out his blades. Chapter 6 Battle, Explanation and Reunion for Another Guardian. Me, z. I was sleeping peacefully until Issei py kicks the door, breaking it. Me, yes, I did the homework. Huh. I get up. Issei, what the hell? Issei py, don't you forget something? Annoyed. Me, no, and let me sleep. I go back to bed. Issei py gets me out of bed. You forgot this fic. Me, won't you leave me alone until I make it true? Issei py, yep. Me, sigh, let's just get this over with. Start typing. No one said anything about what the Orimura family was seeing. They could only watch in shock as their son/brother had a strange armor. But what caught their attention the most was when one of those things shouted, "Guardian." But then they saw how all those things ran to Asia. One of those launched itself with the intention of piercing them with its sword. Madoka. Ichica, take care he didn't finish, or when he opened his eyes like saucers just like everyone else when they saw how Ichica, with some blades that came out of his arms, cut the Naga servant, and his body fell to the ground so that seconds later he disappeared. Ichica, Je is the best thing about it. Soldier, finish him. More Naga troops attack. Ichica, Je, let's see what they have. Disappears and the Naga troops fall like flies while all the people and women in IS looked at that in shock. None of them could scratch them, and he destroyed them as if they were nothing. Chifuyo, I am possible. Ichica, he was dodging the sword cuts as if it were nothing and was cutting off their legs, heads, torsos, legs and arms, and then they disappeared. I'm bored. Whirlwind. A whirlwind surrounds him and they begin to suck in the Naga troops, and then the whirlwind disappears and only Ichica remains with her armor. That was easy. I'm not afraid because something else came out of the portal, a monster different from the others that was 10 meters tall. So you're one of the guardians, he said with a deep voice. Ichica, yes, said simply. prepared to die, starting to crawl with his tail while trying to stab Ichica with his big spear. Ichica dodges it. Not today. Uses his blades to make cuts on his body. Growling, they start to growl with hatred and pain. Ichica, what's wrong? The guardian ate your tongue mockingly. Uses his weapon to launch several energy waves at Ichica, but he dodged it. But then he saw how an energy wave hit a beam that began to fall towards some students of the academy. Girls, Aya! They scream in fear while putting their arms on their heads, but the beam is cut in half by Ichica. Ichica, they're fine, she said in the air. Girls, why yes, they said, still a little scared. Ichica, fine, approaches one of the IS teachers. Get everyone out of here. The teacher just nods. Teacher, everyone get out, shouted for all the girls to get out, but there was a journalist recording from some rubble. Journalist, tell me you're recording him. Fixing his hair in front of the camera. Cameraman, yes, recording her and the fight that was broadcast all over the world. Journalist, hello, here in the Infinity Stratos Academy Coliseum, a bunch of strange things. I don't know if they are people, but whatever they are attacking the academy, and the IS weapons are not hurting them. But the only Baron son of the Orimura family, Ichica Orimura, or as he now calls himself, Ichica Ventus, returned and has a type of armor that is destroying those things, and at this moment he is fighting some kind of snake man, he said to the camera while the cameraman recorded the battle where Ichica is hitting the Naga servant. Ichica, it's the best you have, mockingly. Shut your mouth, I snake, one of the leaders of one of my lord's waves. I will not be defeated by a simple human, he said with hatred. Ichica, well, this mere human is kicking your ass or tail? Or whatever it is you have, she said with bewilderment. Snake, shut up! Shouted with hatred, going to attack Ichica. With Ichica's family and the girls. They were in total shock seeing Ichica with that armor and fighting against that thing. Ichica, that's Ichica not believing it. Chifuyo, where did you get that armor from? Charlotte, and those who refer to those things as being a guardian, she said, somewhat bewildered at the last point. Huki, I don't know, but Ichica isn't the same as before. Madoka, he lied to us, he lied to his own family, she thought in total shock when she saw that he lied to them about what he had done these 5 years. Ichica, he was left seeing his son who had abandoned him for 5 years and had insulted and offended him so little he felt like the worst father in the world, which he is, seeing how he fought against those things. What have I done, he thought. With Ichica, he was dodging Snate's blades. Snate dies at once. Guardian launches an energy attack that Ichica dodges, but then noticing that the attack is directed at Asia Maya. Maya, she tied, petrified with fear. Ichica, Maya and O. At great speed reaches Maya's front wind barrier. A wind dome protects them both and protects them from the attack. Maya looks at Ichica with a little fear. Ichica looks at her. Calm down, Maya. I won't let them damage your beautiful face, she said, making the aforementioned blush heavily. Now I'll end this. The barrier disappears. You were going to hurt her, and she will never forgive yourself for that. With a popping sound, Ichica stabbed her blades into the side of Snate's abdomen. CBX. Aggg screams in pain, putting one of his hands on the wound. Damn guardian, I will destroy you. And then the rest of the guardians attacks Ichica. Ichica, now I'll finish you off. Blades of wind, you put your arms in the shape of an X and separate them, leaving a large X made of wind that goes straight to CBX, hitting him full on. Snate, no, it can't end like that, he said to raise a hand, but ended up disappearing, and Ichica gets off next to Maya. Maya, are you okay? Maya, why yes, with a smile. At that the girls and the Orimura family approach with a serious face. Chifuyo, Ichica said seriously. Ichica, yes, said quietly. Madoka, we want a very serious explanation. Ichica, why should I give them one? Crossing arms. Cecilia, Ichica, I, the great Cecilia, order you to not finish because Ichica interrupts her. Ichica, you know everything you're telling me is worthless, she said with a poke face under the armor. At that many women arrive, and it was noticeable that they were military. All of them were pointing at Ichica. At that a helicopter appears where a black-haired woman with a well-formed body comes down. She was wearing a military uniform and a cap, and her breasts were DD cup and red eyes and white skin. It was noticeable that she was some kind of general. She was giving Ichica a serious look while Maya was hiding behind him. I'm too lazy to post an image. General, Ichica Orimura on behalf of the government of Japan must come with us or he will be taken to the force, said seriously. Ichica, somewhat annoyed that they related him to them again. First of all, my name is Ichica Ventus, and second, why should I go with you? He said with a neutral voice. General, because we need an explanation of what those things were, and what is the IS you have. Seriously. Ichica, and if I don't want to, she said with the same tone as you. General, we will force you, he said to raise his hand and see several women with IS with missiles. Ichica, unfazed not to offend, but none of the weapons the IS has even scratched them. What makes them believe they will do something to me, he said deductively. Everyone looked at him. He was right, conventional weapons couldn't handle those things. What difference would there be using them with something that could destroy those things very easily? General, she just cursed because she was right. She couldn't do anything. We really need you to come so we know what those creatures are in case they come back, she said, trying to make her point. Ichica. He thought for a bit. They were right. If the Naga servants attacked and he and his friends weren't taking care of them in other dimensions, they would have to teach them how to destroy them, but he knew that he and the others were the only ones who could do it, so he could only help them, stop them momentarily after thinking about it a lot. Okay, I'll come with you, he said, but the busybodies speak, it doesn't matter who they are. Chifuyo, we will go too, he said, taking a step forward. Ichica, damn. They don't understand that I don't want to be related to them anymore, he thought, annoyed. General, why they should come, seriously. Chifuyo, he is part of our family, so we will go with him. Plus we were present at the attack, he said seriously. General, thinks about it a bit. Well, it's only her family that's worse, she said. The other girls were worse and were going to refute, but the communicator in her ear rang, and they remained silent for a second and then just accepted it, which surprised Ichica. Ichica, this is strange. They wouldn't just give up like that, he thought, following his instinct that something wasn't right, but he was interrupted by the general. General, get on the helicopter, he said, so the Orimura family could get on. Let's get on, he said, looking at Ichiak. Ichica, she will, but I want her to come too, she said, pointing at Maya. General, you won't object if she comes, curious. Ichiak, yes, he said simply. General, okay, then come up. Ichica takes Maya's hand and she blushes a lot. Maya, CCL, sure, she said, very blushing, following Ichica, still holding hands, to the helicopter. Everything was seen by sisters who were very jealous because the time that Ichica was not there they formed a strange attraction, or obsession. Asia, her brother, her mother knew about this. It seemed bad to her, but she was thinking about Ichina, that no woman was good for her baby, but the three of them knew that if they tried something against Maya, Ichica would not hesitate to defend her, so they just limited themselves to clenching their fists like that. They both get on and sit down, and finally the general enters. General, okay, let's go, says to the pilot. Pilot, general order, says to take off and leave. A few minutes later, the helicopter lands in a mansion and several IS women and police are seen around the mansion, where there were several people and many journalists. General, okay, gets off, follow me, everyone else. Worse still, they go through some of the parts where the police are, where the journalists were trying to get close to Ichica to ask her questions, but they only screamed, trying to get the microphone closer to Ichica. Journalist 1, Mr. Ichica, what were those things? Journalist 2, what is that new IS, he said, while the cameraman brought the camera lens closer to Ichica, who is wearing her armor. Journalist 3, we have to worry about more of those things coming back, questions like that, but Ichica just ignored them. They enter the mansion with the gaze of several troops, both female and male, until they reach a door. General, well, before entering I ask you to take off your armor and hand it over, seriously. Ichica, that will be a problem, scratching the back of his neck. General, we can't allow him to have that armor, doesn't finish because Ichica interrupts her. Ichica, I don't mean that. I can make the armor disappear, but I can't give it to her, and that's because it's part of me, only I can summon it, and there isn't an object that activates it like an IS, she said, surprising the general and her family. General, sighs, well, just make it disappear or whatever you do. Ichiak, it's okay, the armor disappeared, but his clothing had changed. It consisted of a black t-shirt and pants of the same color with green stripes on the shoulders and waist and black shoes. All the girls there blushed, their sisters including even the general, because those clothes showed their well-worked body. General, OK, Let's go in, he said, composing himself and opening the door to a 50-year-old man with white hair, a beard of the same color, and a business suit. Around him there were screens showing leaders of other countries. President. Hello, young Oromu. He doesn't finish because the general comes to his side and whispers in hatred, sorry, young Ventus. Ichica, a pleasure, President, she said politely. President, I think you know why you're here, seriously. Ichica, yes, said calmly. President, well, first we want to know what those things were. Ichiak, they are servants of Naga, he said, trying to confuse those present. General, who is Naga? A voice is heard at that. Overus, I'll answer, that appears floating like a ghost, scaring several people, but they were surprised by what Ichica said next. Ichica, teacher surprised, what are you doing here? Overus, I was seeing what you were doing, my student, he said. He could only notice in his mouth that she was calm. President, who are you? He said curiously. Overus, I am Overus, the former guardian of the Ventus element. Also Ichica's teacher, she said, surprising several, but no one noticed that we are going to Chifuyo had a small lose. Elsewhere, there were the girls in love with Ichica and Rebane who looked at the screen, some angry and others annoyed. Charlotte, she was the one who took Ichica away, angry. Laura, the armor will pay to take my husband, very angry. Back with the prota. Maya, excuse me, she said somewhat shyly. Overus, what's up? He said, looking at her. Maya, what do you mean by guardian? She said, and everyone asked her for extra attention. Overus, you see, eons ago there were 6 attributes: fire, water, earth, wind, light and darkness, or we call them Pyrus, Aquos, Subterra, Ventus, Geos and Dircus. We controlled them. I am the ancient guardian of the Ventus attribute, the wind attribute, and now Ichica is the guardian of that attribute, she said, surprising those present even more. Ichica, wait, you said, we, AI more? Overus, if each element thunders a guardian, my companions chose their successors just like I did. Ichica, if the 6 of us became guardians and companions, we didn't become a family, she said, making her ex-family's heart ache. Overus, but Naga Nazio del Vejo. President Vejo? Confused. Overus, yes, apart from the 6 attributes, he is the possessor of nothingness. There are no dangerous Heres. Worse, he stole the core of our world, making it extremely powerful. The 6 of us could only point it out. Worse, he made us stay trapped in a dimension, he said, surprising everyone. General, so how are you here? Very confused. Overus, I can communicate like what you call holograms. At that Ichica's mother speaks. Ichica, why did you take my baby? Because of all the people in the world looking at her angrily. Overus, because he has a pure heart. I have seen very few people with a heart like that, and I chose him because he would not use the power for selfish purposes, he said, making several AI look at Ichica with pride and admiration. Some girls present looked at him with hearts in their eyes. Well, Ichica, AI have to go. President, where are they going and what will we do if they reappear? Ichica, I'd been thinking about a plan, she said, so everyone would pay attention since their weapons wouldn't do anything to the Naga servants. My idea is to stop them with cryogenic bombs or anything that will prevent you from advancing while I or one of my companions comes. President, okay, we'll do it. Ichiak, well, Maya, I wanted to tell you something, blushing. Maya, what a curious thing. Ichica, would you like to be my girlfriend, she said, making Maya blush atomically, while the girls who were seeing this from the hidden camera were crying because Ichica didn't tell them, while her sister was holding back the urge to cry and kill Maya. Ichica's mother was just thinking that Ivan was going to take her baby back, while the girls around her were jealous. Maya, Ichica, yes, I do want to be your girlfriend, says with tears of happiness, and goes and kisses Ichica, causing more sadness, pain, etc. In the Temple of the Guardians, Issei was in the living room with Akeno hugging him, while Minato and Rito were training. Anoka was having lunch while Kasuna was in her room lying down. Kasuna, even though they betrayed me, I wonder what they are doing, she said out loud. Amosu Gagukin HXH dimension. On one of the floating islands in Japan, in a laboratory, there was an older woman who had a good body who was looking at a photo of a little boy with a big smile that showed happiness. Hera Hidalgo Neuda, mother of Hidalgo Kasuna. She held the photo tightly and tears were falling down her face. Nayuta, why did I tell you this again? She said, hugging the photo. My baby. I abandoned my baby again, crying more. On the other side of the island. In a room there was a woman who looked like Nayuta. She was Rari Hidalgo, the only Herman of Kasuna. She was hugging him, an Almeida who had drawn Kasuna, and around the room there were images of Kasuna, like various things that belonged to Kasuna, like some boxers that were on a glass shelf. Rari, where are you, little brother, hugging the pillow tighter. I'm sorry for not having been the older sister you should have had, but when I see you I will hug you and give you all the love I have in every way, she said while kissing the pillow's face. Kaswana Almohada, help me, she is crazy. At that point a portal opens in the middle of the island and the alarms start to sound. Rari, what's going on? Gets up and gets dressed and leaves her room where several students are running. What's going on? Student, a portal has opened in the center of the island, she said worriedly. Rari, that runs out to the command post where she looks at the cameras where it shows the portal and several people pointing at it. Then something comes out of the portal, a person, but he was wearing a strange armor. Then one of the teachers speaks. Teacher, who is it? Identify yourself, she said, but didn't respond. You will expose yourself, or we will open fire. That's the person speaking with a voice that I can hear everyone saying. Servant, destroy everything, leave no life in your wake, he said so that more would leave the portal. Teacher, fire, everyone shoots at point blank range, leaving a large cloud of dust. Not that they were, but it already eliminates it. It doesn't end because the smoke dissipates to show them without a single scratch. What the hell, she said, but then they launch energy waves towards the people, wounding several and killing a few. Everyone retreat, she said. So that everything retreats, some carrying wounded. Rari looked at this in shock. Then she calls the leaders of Atlantis, where her old woman Alubna and her sister answer. Rari, ain't serious. Ain, what's up? Said the curious blue-haired girl. Rari, they are not attacking. Who said? A redhead. Rari, I don't know, Grace, but they just came out of a portal. Shows them the recording, surprising us, Hambus. Ain, what are those things? Rari, I don't know. But our weapons don't do anything to them and they are advancing very fast, destroying everything. Serious. Grace, we'll be fine, we'll be strong. It ends because a woman enters. Filler, Grace Sama Ain Sama, a portal just appeared, she said, making the two present run to her balcony where they see the same things they saw in the video attacking their people. Ain, sister, go with the others and protect them. Grace, yes, leaves with the woman. Ain returns to where Rari was. We can't go to those things too. Let's take care of them and then we'll go with you, she said to cut the communication. Rari hits her fist against the board. Curse. In the Temple of the Guardians. The alarm starts to ring. Issei, they are attacking another dimension, touches the center table where a map appears showing a planet in red. Kasuna goes down. What's up? Anoka, they're attacking a dimension. Kasuna looks and April's eyes are wide open. Kasuna, it's my world, he said in shock, then get serious, I will go. Issei, are you sure? Kasuna, yes, I was born in that world. Anoka, well, I'm careful and don't get too confident. Kasuna, I never do. It makes a portal and enters and the portal closes. World of HXH, summarized like this. A portal opens where Kasuna appears and I see how one of Japan's floating islands is on fire and being destroyed. Kasuna, you better hurry me up, runs to the island. Me ready, Felis, I throw the chapter in his face. ISCIPY, yes, worse than what happened with me. By the next chapter you'll know, so stop bothering me, V, so I have a gift for you. Chapter 7, The Savior of Two Worlds. Everything was chaos on the island of Japan. People ran in terror while Naga's servants destroyed everything in their path while the soldiers tried in vain to stop them. In the operating room, Rari was seen hitting the console with her fist. Rari, damn, those things are indestructible. I saw a transmission where you could see two girls who looked like they were flying in suits. What's going on? A blonde woman says. Rari, Farandole, hey Euro, I'm glad to hear from you. Hey Euro, us too, but what's going on? He said due to the sudden emergency call. Rari, They are attacking us, she said, surprising both of them. Farandol, is it Vatlantis? Rayri, no, sends them the images of the Naga servants. I don't know what they are, but they just came out of a portal that appeared in the middle of the island. Heiyuro, and Vatlantis can't send us support, she said seriously. Rayri, no, those things are also attacking Vatlantis, she said, surprising both of them. We only have to resist. Farandol, what about Sylvia? She said, something sad like the other two. Rayri, she is fighting with those things but only to defend the place and does not want to listen to my orders, said sadly, because since they betrayed Kasuna she cut everything lasso with them but continues living on the island. She is evacuating the civilians, she said, while seeing a 16-year-old girl with armor. Heiyuro, we're almost there. Rayri, okay. Nayuta comes in. Nayuta, what's up? She said to hear another explosion making the command center shake. Rayri, they're not attacking seriously. Nayuta, who? Surprised. Rayri, I don't know, these things just appeared and started attacking us, and they're attacking Vatlantis, and the worst part is our weapons don't do anything to them. Nayuta, what? She said, very confused. Rayri, look, shows him the video of the Naga servants, and he is surprised. Nayuta, and Vatlantis? Rayri, they are being attacked. We are also alone, she said seriously. In Vatlantis. The robots, I don't remember the name, were defending the people from Naga's troops, but they were easily destroyed. Only the biggest ones stopped them. Worse, they didn't destroy them, but in the end they ended up destroyed. They advanced without compassion, killing whoever or whatever was in their way, while Ain, in her pink mode, I don't remember what her name was, and her sister along with the other Vatlantis troops tried to confront them. Why don't they fall? An annoyed green-haired girl says. Sees that a wave of energy is approaching the green-haired girl village. Be careful, shouted a blonde brunette, pushing her and receiving the attack. Ald, Grabble and Oo runs to help her, where she catches her and sees her bleeding with wounds all over her body, while a few meters away from her 2 other girls were fighting against the Naga servants. Dai said, a psychopathic blonde lowly, shooting rockets from her armor, hitting them full on. Ha ha ha, weak. Don't trust yourself, said a purple-haired girl, attacking other Naga servants, making a big explosion. Or come on, Zelxion, they won't be able to beat us. The blonde shows off her smug expression. Zel, being conceited will kill you one of these days, said the purple-haired girl. Ragres, oh come on, they are not, does not finish, because she dodges an energy wave that cuts her cheek, so that both looked where it came from to see the Naga servants advancing without any scratch. Zel, damn, we didn't even scratch them. Annoyed, but then I was sweating cold when I heard the voice of one of Anaga's servants who was demonic. SN, destroy everything and everyone in your path, said one who was in front, while the others took out their swords and destroyed the robots and the homes and anything in front of them without even stopping. On Earth, all the people were fleeing the island while the Naga servants advanced without stopping. While in the command post they were all armed. Rayri, what's the situation? K types on a computer. They have taken 70% of the island in just 20 minutes. The voice from the computer sounded. Nayuta, what are we doing, daughter? This is worse than the war against Vatlantis. At that the barracks shake, where they grab onto whatever they can to avoid falling. Rayri, what's happening? K, they have arrived, shows on the screen several Naga troops in the academy where the students are running away. Rayri, K gives the alert, leave the place, she said, so that the alarm would sound and everyone would start to leave, including Rayri, Nayuta, and K. Outside the academy, Farandol and Heiyuro arrived. Farandol, Era, how ugly, he said to start shooting at them. Heiyuro, with her sword she attacks the Naga servants, but when she touches them her sword breaks. What she said, worse, she received a punch from one of the troops, sending her to a building. Farandol, Heiyuro screams, going to her who was badly injured, where her radio starts playing. Rayri, Farandol, can you hear me? Farandol, yes, carrying Heiyuro. Rayri, I need you to get everyone out of here. Our weapons won't scratch those things. Farandol, okay, charges Heiyuro, where she shoots rockets at the Naga servants to distract them while she leaves there, but stops when she sees a large gap where Vatlantis ships come out, but one explodes due to an energy wave that the Naga servants threw at it. In Vatlantis, the troops were stopping, if you can call them that, the Naga servants, where they would attack the civilians on the floats as they entered the breach, but well, several ships explode from the Naga servants' attacks. Ain, damn, there are too many of them, she said to see the other girls arriving with the village carrying the wounded Gabriel. Zell, there are no more civilians. Grace, okay, go to the ship, she said so that everyone who remained could get on while she saw how the robots were chewed up by the Naga servants. Ragres, the good thing is that they don't fly, he said, and then saw some Naga servants falling to their knees while their hands shook and wings grew out of them, and their armor fell to the ground to show another way. Zell, you had to open your mouth. S. Valadors, RARRGGG, they made a scream that made everyone have to cover their ears, and then they started to fly towards the ships. Ashore. Sylvia was shooting at the Naga servants with her gear. Sylvia, damn, I wish you were here, Kasuna, she thought nostalgically, because since she was a child she fell in love with him. When she found out what they told her, saying that she was furious would be an understatement. Since then she no longer received orders or used her gear until now that these things appeared. With Kasuna, he was running on top of the water. Thanks to his attribute he could walk on water as if it were land, and in the distance he sees another explosion on the island. Kasuna, curse, increases speed and jumps and falls in the island's forest. Good runs through the island where she sees destroyed buildings and sees the portal that shows Vatlantis. I better hurry before it's too late, keeps running. On the portal, Ain's ship and the others leave where they see that the last ship that was missing was attacked and knocked down by Naga's servants. Ain, damn, those things even fly, she said to shoot them. All she did was disorient them for a few seconds. Farandol, Ain, can you hear me? Says from her communicator. Ain, Farandol, I'm glad to hear you, with a smile. Farabdol, me too, but they managed to destroy some of those things. Ain, it wouldn't be a miracle if we had at least given him a scratch, annoyed. Farandol, we're not doing any better here. Heiyuro is wounded and they've already taken 75% of the island. On the island, Sylvia was shooting at them with all her weapons, but then the island approaches the gap where the servants of Naga who were in Vatlantis passed the gap, but in a moment of carelessness she is hit by one of Naga's servants. Rayri, Sylvia shouted for the aforementioned to turn around to see Rayri, Nayuta and Ki, but they were surrounded by the other Naga troops, preventing them from advancing. SNM also his sword disappear. Sylvia, Kasuna, please save me, she thought, so that a tear fell from her eye while the Naga servant lowered his sword to stab her but was crushed by something or someone where a cloud of smoke came out, and everyone including those who were in the ships looked. Sylvia, cough, started to cough and opened her eyes to see a silhouette so that later the smoke would dissipate so that everyone would be in shock. Everyone of Kasuna, those who knew him, shouted while Sylvia looked at him, and tears came out. Kasuna, are you okay? He said to stretch out his hand, but Sylvia hugged him. Sylvia, Kasuna, tell me what you are here crying. Kasuna, yes, it's me, he said nervously because he had no idea who she was, but they are interrupted by the roars of the Naga troops who turned to look at him, including those who were attacking the ships. Get to safety. Sylvia, what about you? Kasuna, I'll be fine, run, he said so she could run away and hide in some rubble. SN, he's a guardian, kill him, one shouted to attack him. Worse, something happened that surprised everyone. Kasuna grabs his head and throws it to the ground and crushes it, making it disappear into particles while he got into a fighting position and stretched out his hand, making a signal for them to come closer, and they growled and launched themselves against him, ignoring the other people. J. Aqua's attribute, he shouted so that a sign appeared in his head. Then the sign surrounds him and disappears, revealing him in armor. Everyone was amazed. Kasuna, Tsunami said so that his spear was surrounded by water and then stretched it out and pretended to throw it, and then saw a ball of water finishing off some of the Naga's servants. Flying SN, Rayard roared from the ships to launch themselves against Kasuna. Kasuna, that's new, he said without importance. Tornado Aquos, he said to be surrounded by water, and then show a large tornado about 80 meters high that began to suck the Naga servants so that after a few seconds the tornado disappeared, leaving a few who threw themselves at him. You will be the ones I test this with. Pyrus attribute change, he said so that his armor changed color. Then his spear turned into a sword made of fire and cut all the remaining Naga servants until only ashes were left where his sword disappeared and his armor returned to normal where it began to get dark so that he was standing there in an epic way while the sunset was behind but Sylvia launches herself almost knocking him down. Sylvia, Kasuna 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 Deja crying. Kasuna, what's up, you're making me feel bad with doubt. Sylvia, Baka, how could you forget me, Commander, she said with a pout making his eyes widen. Kasuna, Sylvia screams in surprise. Sylvia, yes, smiling. Kasuna, wow, you look bucking beautiful, she said making the aforementioned blush. Sylvia, thank you, blushing, but they were interrupted because Ain and her sister, and Kasuna's mother, and also her sister approached. Ain, Kasuna Deja is in tears, just like the others, except Grace. Kasuna, hello princesses of Atlantis, Ain and Grace, and also to you Rayri and Nayuda Hidalgo, said Ango cold. Nayuda, Kasuna, you have a lot to explain. Seriously. Kasuna, hiya, what I was missing, he thought, annoyed because he would have to be with this bunch of idiots again. Rayri, let's talk at the command post. Ain, we will also be good representatives of Atlantis, she said seriously. Kasuna, since she said in a defeated manner while drying them. Chapter 8 Underground Guardian vs. Aliens. We didn't locate the island of Japan or what was left of it while the survivors rebuilt the island, but we didn't find a group of girls and a boy with his blue armor at school receiving glances from everyone but the girl and a blonde girl with purple eyes were a little far from the group talking. Kasuna, and Sylvia here again. Sylvia, when I found out they fired you, I got furious and quit the team. I was studying and finishing school. I had several jobs on the island for my needs, but I currently work in a cafeteria. Kasuna, I see. And what about the relationship between Earth and Atlantis? Curious. Sylvia, Atlantis and the land have been exchanging culture and knowledge, although you know that Atlantis has more knowledge than us, she said so that Kasuna would just nod while the group of 3 girls looked at him from afar with jealousy. Ain, why is she so close to her? Heyuro, he better not do something perverted with jealousy and with his sword. Farandol, Era Kasuna is an unfaithful man with a dark smile while the group in front of Nayuda, Rayri and Grease paid attention behind. Nayuda, I wonder where Kasuna has been all this time, Deja worried about her son. Rayri, yes, and why is she so close to her? She said very jealous. Grease, wait Nayuda, you didn't create that armor, she said surprised. Nayuda, no, I've never seen it before. I don't know where she got it from. With Kasuna. Sylvia, and where have you been? Kasuna, I've been training to fight those things seriously. Sylvia, but what are they? Curious. Kasuna, I think it would be better to talk further inside, she said to see that they had already arrived at the command center or what was left of it. Wow, they haven't been able to hire a janitor, she said as she sat on some rubble and Sylvia sat next to her while the others were in front of him with a serious look although with happiness and well. Nayuta, first of all, where have you been? Seriously. Kasuna, I can't tell you that seriously. Rayri, what were those things? Kasuna, explains about Naga making them all freak out and that was his servants. Ain, those must have been their strongest soldiers. I asked, making only Kasuna shake her head. Kasuna, in fact those were the weakest, she said, making everyone stay like stones. All, the weakest, says in total shock. Kasuna, yes, but don't worry, my companions and I will take care of it, she said, making the others calm down, but Farandol approached and stuck her breasts on the back of Kasuna's armor. Farandol, Era Kasuna, I felt lonely while you were gone, Deja flirtatiously making women feel jealous until Kasuna pushes her. Kasuna, don't touch me with disgust, surprising everyone except Sylvia while the blonde was more than surprised. Farandol, what she was totally surprised. Kasuna, seriously, do you think I've forgotten what you did to me? Making everyone except Sylvia lower their heads. Rayri, we know it but we want to fix it, Deja with tears threatening to come out. Kasuna, this is not something that can be fixed alone. I will tell you that I do not hate you but I am not interested in being with you anymore, he said standing up, making all the traitors' hearts break until he was stopped by his ex-mother and sister. Nayuta, son, don't go, said Deja. Reiri, yes, stay here. Kasuna, I don't want to and I can't. Deja walking past until the three girls he once loved and betrayed him stood in front of him. Ain, Kasuna, you won't leave. I love you and I won't let you go. With tears and a fighting stance. Heiyuro, I love you, Kasuna, and that's why we'll keep you from leaving. Deja crying with her sword. Farandole, and I know you love us. Deja smiling. Kasuna, I don't love them. Crack. Glass is heard breaking, which were none other than the hearts of the three girls. The three, that barely wanted. Kasuna, yes, after that any feeling towards you disappeared, but there is only one woman that I love. Walks towards Sylvia and the armor disappears, leaving him with the same clothes as Ichica, only with blue lines, and he takes Sylvia by the waist and kisses her, and everything remains in a deathly silence. Then Kasuna separates from Sylvia, fuming and babbling nonsense, while the girls saw that with their eyes wide open without being able to move, but Reiri had her eyes covered by her hair. Reiri, I don't accept it, mumbles. Kasuna, huh? Looks at Reiri. Reiri, I don't accept it, says a little louder. Kasuna, why don't you? Reiri, I don't accept it, you can only be with me because I love you, screams at the top of her lungs, making everyone open their eyes in shock, especially Kasuna, who didn't expect that even in her wildest dreams. Kasuna, Reiri, you're really messing with me. Deja not believing it. Reiri, no, really, I love you, approaches him. Kasuna, Reiri, I can't do that, and besides, I don't love you, he said seriously and a little nervous because his sister was a time bomb. Reiri, her eyes are covered by her hair as she runs away. Nayuta, daughter, wait, she says, running for her, while Kasuna only had an internal conflict about what just happened. Infidi Stratos dimension. With everything arranged with the leaders of the Ichica countries and managing to get away from the annoying/harassing members of her family, she had something important to discuss with Maya. Ichica, Maya? Can I ask you something? Says somewhat nervously. Maya, what's really going on? Confused by Ichica's nervousness. Ichica, well, if you want to go live with me, he said, waiting for his girlfriend's answer. Maya, sure, I just have to pack my things. Ichica, I'll help you, snaps his fingers where a portal appears above them and goes down and absorbs them. Maya's room scene change. Both leave the portal to the room. Maya, wow, how did you do that, with stars in her eyes? Ichica, one of the tricks I learned, she said, smiling. Maya, okay, I'll go pack. I won't be long. 10 minutes later. Maya finishes packing. Ready, we can go now. Ichica, okay, opens a portal. And /A, that's how the portals they make are. Maya, wow. Ichica, ready, understanding her hand. Maya, as long as she's with you, taking it and entering the portal and then closing it. Elemental Temple. A portal opens where Maya and Ichica come out in front of the Mother Bucca mansion. Maya, here you live with the others, amazed by how big it was. Ichila, yes, let's go, and they enter where Ben is in the living room, where Issei and Akeno are watching a movie. Hello, she said, making them both turn around. Issei gets up. How did it go? Giving him a brotherly hug. Ichica, corresponding well, I took care of them, and I also want to introduce you to my girlfriend, she said, releasing Issei and taking a few steps to the side to show Maya. Maya, it's a pleasure, I'm Maya, she said cordially. Issei, a Mayan pleasure, I'm Issei Pyrrhus, said the brown-haired boy kindly. Akeno, I am Akeno the Welsh dragon, she said, making Maya confused. Maya, dragon? Confused. Ichica, there are more things to explain, then looks at the whole place. Hey, what about everyone else? Issei, well, Kasuna went to his world because of a Naga attack. Minato is in the game room. Anoka is in the library and Rito is in the training yard. He said, but then an alarm sounds where Issei touches the table and a map with several universes appears where there was one in red and the others arrive running where Kraf's figure appears. Kraf, guys, the servants of Naga are in this dimension, he said, making the map zoom in and show a planet known for Rito. Right, it's my home. Kraf, yes, brat, your time has come to face your past, he said, making me put on a serious look. Rito, good, he said while opening a portal. Issei, good luck. Ichica, Don't die receives Amaya blow on the arm rubbering. Anoka, break their mother. Rito, smiles thanks guys enters. World to love are you. A portal opens in an alley where Rito comes out wearing a black jacket, brown shirt, blue pants, and brown shoes. Rito, I miss this city, he says, leaving the alley, walking down the street where he sees his old academy that brings back several memories, he said, entering and walking through the school where some students saw him. The girls blushed when they saw him, they like older ones, while the boys cursed him when they saw a beautiful blonde woman walking, which our orange-haired boy saw her. Rito, she's still as beautiful as I remembered her, sighs happily but notices that she had a sad look as he approached her. Right, how I wish you were here, thought sadly until he noticed another orange-haired girl. Rito, hello, he said, making the blonde look at him strangely. I know you? Rito, oh, that hurt me, Tearju-sensei, I said, pretending to be hurt, while the blonde narrowed her eyes. Tearju, you make me feel familiar. Rito, sighs, don't you remember that boy who always accidentally ended up in a compromising position with some girl? He said with a small smile, causing the blonde to be in shock. Tearju, it can't be, covering her mouth with her hands while tears fell from her eyes, right? Right, the same one you saw in war, he said while the blonde threw herself at him. Tearju, right, repeated her name several times while the orange-haired man hugged her. A few minutes later, the blonde was already calmer. Tearju, I thought you were dead since the girls. Right. Yes, they almost killed me, but I was saved. Tearju, for whom? Rito, I'll tell you another time, but tell me how things have been these last 5 years. Tearju, which surprises the orange-haired man since he had never seen her like that. Kaneki became the new king of Devi Luck, but he rules the planet like a tyrant. Rito, and what happened to the former Devi Luck king? Tearju, he, along with the others and a small group, is leading a resistance against Kaneki. Zastan has informed me. Then he sees Rito looking at the window. Right, Zastan. Flashback. Rito was sitting in the park. Rito, why don't girls want to talk to me anymore? Sad but sees a green-haired man approaching, I declare. Rito, hello Zastan, he said without much enthusiasm. Zastan, hello, Rito said, sitting next to him. Rito, Zastan, I did something wrong to make the girls hate me, lowering his head but feels a hand on his shoulder. Zastan, no, maybe they're just stressed or have things to do, but you do need someone to talk to, he said laughingly. Rito, thank you, with a small smile. End flashback. Rito finishes remembering he was going to ask the blonde more, but a loud bang is heard where they look out the window when they see a capsule crashing in the courtyard where the students also go out to see, while the blonde and the orange-haired man run towards it when it opens and Zastan comes out with several wounds. Tearju, Zastan said, running and standing next to him, while the aforementioned was holding a wound on his ribs. Zastan, Tearju, coughing blood. Tearju, calm down, right, help me, he said, making the mention carry him while he opened his eyes with barely any strength. Zastan, right, he said before fainting. Rito, let's cure him quickly, he said, going to the infirmary where a brown-haired girl was. Tearju, what happened and who is he, pointing at Rito? Tearju, it's a Mikado ritual, he said, so the brunette would be in shock. Mikado, our Rito said in total shock. Rito, yes, but there's no time for reunions. Zastan needs help, he said seriously so that the brown-haired girl could quickly go for the bandages and the medicine. Minutes later, we found ourselves in the infirmary where Zastan was being treated by Tearju with several bandages while Mikado was burning Rito. Mikado, I thought Sniff you were dead, crying into his chest. Riro, yes, it's me, Mikado, he said while hugging her, but stops when he sees the light green-haired boy wake up. Zasti, what happened, he says, opening his eyes and trying to stand up. Tearju, don't stop, you're very hurt, said the blonde. Zastan, Tearju, I thought I saw Rito, said sad. Rito, it wasn't a dream, Zastan, he said, making Zastan turn around and open his eyes in shock. Zastan, alright? In shock. Rito, do you know anyone else with orange hair? He said with a smile when he is hugged by light green hair. Zastan, I thought you were dead, tears start to fall. Rito, calm down. Friend claps him in the house and the green-haired man sits down again. How are things going at Devilok? Zastan. Seriously, Kaneki rules with an iron fist at this moment. Gid and the others are fighting with him, but we are outnumbered. I came to Earth to ask for help, but some ships interfered with me and attacked my ship and made me fall, and that noises are heard outside where they see through the window several ships where a hologram of a humanoid insect appears. Insect. Humans surrender to King Kaneki, and maybe we'll let you live, he said in a mocking tone. Zasti. Damn, he said, trying to go, but is grabbed by Right. What are you doing? Right, I'll take care of it. Tearju. Right, that's suicide with tears. Mikado. We remember you, we don't want to lose you again. Crying. Rito. Calm down, I'll take care of it. He leaves and walks down the street, being seen by people and students. Hey, ugly! He shouts, making the hologram insect look at him. Insect, how did you call me, stupid human? Annoyed. Rito, you didn't hear, ugly, mockingly, making others think he wants to commit suicide. On the ship. Insect, shoot the human, he said while other aliens pressed buttons on the ship. With Right. He was standing calmly when he was attacked by hundreds of gunshots for several seconds, leaving a large cloud of smoke. The three, Rito, screamed while crying, and the insect started talking again. Insect, this is what awaits you, so surrender or it will end. Like stops and watches as the smoke disappears, seeing an orange-haired man without a scratch, making everyone go into shock. Rito, well, my turn, he said, to put his hands on the ground and said stake, getting up and raising his hand where the earth shakes and a large stake comes out of the ground under the crossing ship, making it explode and killing the other ships, where the orange-haired man returns to where the blonde and green-haired woman who were with their mouths open. The three of them, Aba couldn't articulate a word. Rito, I'll explain it to you later, but now concentrates and opens a portal. You have to go to Devilok, enters followed by them. Meanwhile in Devilok. Before, Devilok was a beautiful city, but now it was just ruined houses and explosions, where you can see the former King Gid and the older girls, Rito's parents, and other aliens fighting against Kaneki and his soldiers. Not applicable, all those who are there except Tearju betrayed him. Gid, I hope Zastan can find help. Weak. Kaneki, ha, why don't they give up? Lala, you will never pay for what you did with anger. Kaneki, Ai Lala, you didn't say that when we were doing it, he said amusedly, making the girls feel dirty. Yami, we were not wrong and we gave you our virginity, said to the red-eyed blonde with disgust. Ringo, because of you I lost my little one. Sai-bai, and I lost my boy. Nana, and because of you we lost the man we loved, said the pink-haired girl with pigtails, crying like the others. Kaneki, whatever, the whole universe is watching this now. Everyone will see that they shouldn't challenge me, and when this is over I'll have fun with you, he said while his soldiers pointed at the Resistencia, and everyone thought that only a miracle would save them, but everyone stops when a portal opens in the middle in front of Gib and the girls. Where Zastan, Tearju, Mikado and finally our protagonists come out. Zastan, my king, running towards him. Gid, Zastan, I'm glad you're here, smiling, then sees the orange-haired guy. Who is he? Zastan, it's a ritual, he said, so everyone would be in shock. All right, they shouted with joy with tears, but the orange-haired man looked at the black-haired man. Kaneki, so you're still alive, trash, he said mockingly. Rito, you're not going to get rid of me easily, idiot, he said while the black-haired man got angry. Kaneki, you dug your grave, kill him, he said to the soldiers who ran towards him. Right. Hello, Sand mumbles as the sand flees in front of him and falls on top of the soldiers with force, crushing them or drowning them while the other soldiers move away. It's the best you have. Kaneki, TSK, let's see if this is from your Tea now, he said so that the ships would appear. Right. Yawning meteor, he said so that the sky could see several meteorites and crashing against the ships, destroying them, leaving only the soldiers, who were no more than 5,000. Kaneki, scared? How is it possible? You are just a simple human. Rito, well, this simple human has just defeated your army, he said simply, but another portal opens, only this one is dark and strange creatures similar to minotaurs come out. Minotaurs, Raggg, they charge at Kaneki's soldiers who try to defend themselves in vain and end up dying. God, what are those things? he said, looking at the massacre that happened, but everyone is listening to what ritual he is talking about. Rito, so here were the Naga servants, huh? He said as he watched them approach him. Good, Tirju Mikado, go to Zastan and stay there, he said seriously. Tiju, we won't leave you alone, serious. Rito, don't worry, I'll be fine. Besides, I wouldn't forgive myself if something happened to them. Smiling at them, making them blush while a certain group of girls burned with jealousy. Both, okay, they said, going to Zastan while Rito looked seriously at the Minotaurs. Right, time to fight, he said to raise his hand. Subterranean element, he said, so that a semi-bowl appeared above him. The symbol surrounds him, and then disappears, leaving Rito in his armor. All the beings in the universe who were watching this were in shock, but especially the people who knew the orange-haired man were thinking. Everyone, since when can you do that? They thought, but everyone agreed on something. The previous rite no longer exists. Chapter 9: Power of the Earth and the Supreme Darkness. In the former capital of Deviluk, also one of the most prosperous, it is now in ruins, where the screen focuses on an orange and brown armor at the front of an army of minotaurs. Rito, okay, bulls on steroids, come for me, he said in a fighting stance. Minotauros, roar, raising their aches running like that. Right, Mura's same blades, 2 long orange energy blades come out of his wrists. And he launches himself against the minotaurs while a certain blonde and brunette watch this with concern. The king of Deviluk approaches Zastan. Gid, Zastan, since when did Rito do that? Said the king, surprised. Zastan, I don't know, he said, equally surprised. Tirju, right, with tears. Mikado, calm down, Tirju, he'll be fine, he said, comforting his friend, although she was also worried. Tirju, sure, looking at her, but a group of girls approaches that neither of them wanted to see. Lala, Mikado-san, what happened to Ri? She doesn't finish because she is interrupted by the brunette. Mikado, you shut up, he said with hatred. Yami, hey, the princess is talking to you, she said angrily, but... Income statement. The older blonde slaps her, crying, surprising everyone with the action. Tirju, you're a hitch because of yourself, just like the others. This is happening, she said angrily while the younger blonde had her hand on her cheek and tears came out of her eyes. With ritual. Was cutting the minotaurs in half. Rito, let's go, it's all he has, he said, dodging the masses of the minotaurs which were crushing Kaniki's troops who were in the middle of the fight. Soldier, no, being crushed by one of the massos. Rito, cuts a minotaur in half. Well, I'm bored sinking, he said, so that a crater began to form, trapping the minotaurs and those that remained of Kaniki's army. The earth begins to fill the crater, crushing everyone. Rito, it was disappointing size, but sees Kaniki trying to escape. Earth wall mumbles, making a 6-meter high and 8-meter long earth wall rise in front of Kaniki, making him crash. Kaniki, Ai, he said, grabbing his nose where drops of blood came out, where he sees a shadow behind him and turns around, seeing Rito. Rito, hello, said, taking him by the neck. Kaniki, how Opshavites is cough power, he said in pain. Right. Someone saw that it was Diknos, said with simplicity. Kaniki, you're a piece of trash, haha, don't make me laugh, cough, and come back to rescue them? Rito, you're wrong, I don't care if you kill them or not, he said while his ex-harem was in tears. I only came because there are innocent people who suffer just because of that. His stomach pierces him. Kaniki, spits blood, damn. Rito, say hello to death for me, he said, cutting Kaniki in half while more parts of the black-haired man fell to the ground. Pathetic mumbles, turning where he was Zastan, but Tirju and Mikado hug him, crying. Both, right, they did, crying, and the orange-haired man hugged them, being careful not to hurt them with his armor. Rito, here I am, he said in a loving voice. Mikado, we thought Sniff that we would lose you, he said with tears. Right, if I haven't died before, I won't do it now, he said, his armor disappearing, wearing a black suit with brown lines on the short sleeves and by the waist. King Gid approaches with his sword. Hello, Gid. Gid, it's good to see you, Rito said in his child form. Right, you too, Gid, he said with simplicity, crossed arms. Sephi, thanks for saving us, Rito-kun, a pink-haired woman with slightly damaged hair, said. Just imagine it's like in the story. Rito, it was nothing, Queen Sephi, he said kindly as he watched a group of girls approach. Lala, Rito wishes happy. Riro, what? He said dryly. Lala, I miss you trying to hug him, but a wall of dirt gets in the way. Rito, don't come near me, he said with disgust as the wall disappeared. Lala, but ritual because with tears. Rito, do you really want me to list everything they did to me? I only came because I didn't want Sastin's home to be destroyed and because that bastard deserved to die, he said angrily. Momo, that means that praying that it wasn't what she was thinking. Rito, if I don't love them, said Pavikaba. Crash in the girl's hearts. Well, it's time to go, and that he is stopped by an older orange-haired girl. Ringo, my little son, come and hug your mother, he said while the orange-haired younger girl looked at him coldly. Rito, mother? I don't have a mother, he said, making the orange-haired man cry. Gid, well boy, I would force you to go back with them if I hadn't known what happened, so I hope you're happy, said the little one. Lala, but April, she said angrily. Gid, no buts, young lady, because of your stupidity look what happened, although it is also my fault for not seeing how good you were. I'm sorry, he said, bowing, surprising everyone. Rito, don't worry, King Gid, I don't feel hatred or resentment towards you, but I don't want you in my life anymore, he said, feeling that his ex-family and ex-harem were heartbroken. Gid, I understand, boy, now I have a planet to restore. Rito, I will help you, there are many people who need help, he said, starting to walk with Gid to where the survivors were. In the world of HXH. Kasuna was with Sinsha helping to rebuild the Japanese float. Kasuna, carrying a large piece of rubble without any problem. We were almost done, she said, throwing the rubble to the sky. Water lance, she said, so that a large wave in the shape of a lance would pass through the rubble, turning it into dust. Sylvia, I'm still surprised at what you can do, she said, helping some of the injured. Kasuna, I'm incredible, she said with a bit of arrogance. Well, I think that would be all, she said, cleaning her palms. Sylvia, yes, hugging Kasuna, you know I feel very alone, she said in a seductive tone. Kasuna, really? She said while trying to think only about the Bible. Well, time to go, she said, taking his hand. Sylvia, Kasuna, what are you going to do with Riri, she said with some anger. Kasuna, honestly, I don't know anymore. I never expected her to like me, but I don't feel anything for her, said a certain woman who was laughing and listening to them from a building where she had tears in her eyes. Riri, hee, I ruined it, she said while walking down the hallway with a knife in her hand. In the home of the Guardians. Issei, zzz, sleeping on Akene's chest while she was messing up his hair. Ichica, a good pervert will always be a pervert, he said, watching the scene while seeing Anoka with her fists made of dark energy destroying mannequins. He still feels some hatred. I hope it doesn't corrupt him, he thought, when the alarm sounds, causing all the members of the castle to go to the room and a hologram with a red planet appears. Minato, now what world are they attacking, he said while looking at the map, and the Exedra hologram appeared. Exedra, Anoka, your world is being attacked, she said, making the aforementioned put on a cold look. Anoka, okay, I'll go, he said coldly, starting to leave but is stopped by Minato. Mianto, Anoka, I know you hate them, but you have to learn that you must leave that hatred behind, he said in an older brother tone. Anoka, thanks brother, said with a small smile, disappearing. World of CRAF work. It was night in the city, but from the shadows of an alley comes Anoka. Anka, it's nighttime, I like the night, she said, walking down the streets when she hears a fight. Could it be? She goes where the fight was heard and sees 5 girls fighting with her ex-girlfriend, who was sweeping the floor with them. Anoka, wow, it seems they haven't given up, he said on top of a building. 1. I hate you, Fire Witch said, starting to flee with the others. The Red Witch just sighs to take her broom and fly away. Anoka, maybe I'll pay her a visit, she said with a sinister smile. It will be later. First I'll go look for the Shadow Naga servants, she said while her shadow appeared on a wall showing eyes and a mouth. Search the city. The shadow nods, disappearing. Now I'll go see you, little sister, she said, disappearing into the night. Elsewhere. There was a red-haired woman sitting at a table. I miss you, Oni-chan, he said in a sad, low voice. Anoka, I miss you too, little sister, he said behind her, making her turn around, and her eyes opened in shock. Surprised face. Oni-chan, he said as tears began to form. Anoka, Hello Katsumi, said the black-haired boy smiling, but is tackled by his sister who almost makes him fall. Katsumi, Oni-chan! Oni-chan! You're alive, she said, crying with happiness, hugging him, while he reciprocated the hug. Anoka, I'm here now and I'll never leave you again, she said, stroking his head. Katsumi, they said you were dead, she said, stopping crying. Anoka, I'm a tough bastard to kill, he said, jokingly, making the pink-haired girl laugh a little. And how have things been sitting on the toilet with her? Katsumi, well, there is still a lot of conflict with the nuns of the tower and the workshop, said, opening Anoka's arms. Anoka, and what about the fire witch, she said with hatred in her voice. Katsumi, well, having the white witch has made her very powerful, she said with a little fear. Anoka, I see, and you have noticed something strange, monsters said, looking at her. Katsumi, well, I heard that many witches have disappeared from both the tower and the workshop, she said, trembling, but she is burned by the black-haired man. Anoka, don't worry, I'll protect you, he said, smiling, making her blush. Katsumi, and don't say those things, Oni-chan, she said, blushing. Anoka, hey, how is Mrs. Takayami? He said in a cold tone. Katsumi, well, it turns out she's in the hospital. Apparently she's sick, she said, a little scared by the black-haired man's look. Anoka, I see, maybe I'll pay him a visit, but what if I take you home? Katsumi, hi, Oni-chan said happily, so that both of them could leave and walk home. While there was an older woman with white and reddish locks. She was Kasani, Kaguri's mother, who was standing in front of her daughter. Kaguri, what's up? He said with an expressionless face. Kasani, I felt a presence a while ago. I've never felt anything like that, she said, making the black-haired girl say a word. Kaguri, what is it? She said, a little curious. Kasani, I never felt dark before, as if it were darkness itself, she said seriously, holding the black-haired girl. I think it has to do with the disappearances of the witches, both from the workshop and the tower. You must be alert. Kaguri, it's okay, he said, leaving while the woman looked at the building's window. Kasani, sorry daughter, but I had to do it, thought sadly. Kaguri, walking through the hallways and sees that there was no one and takes a photo where she and Anoka were. Forgive me, my princess, she said with tears hidden in the photo. With Anoka had arrived at his former home. Anoka, nothing has changed, thought, entering with her sister. Katsumi, Oni-chan, let's go to sleep, she said, going to change and pulling the black-haired boy's arm. Anoka, I would like to, but I have something to do, he said until his sister made a sad face. Katsumi, oh well, sad but worse, is kissed on the forehead by the black-haired man, making her fume. Anoka, don't worry, I'll come back, she said, leaving the house where her sister fainted with happiness while walking through the dark streets, where she stopped under a lamppost where her shadow appeared. Did you find something? Shadow shakes his head. Anoka, it's okay. Keep looking, the shadow disappears. Well, I think here's groans now that, he said, running, seeing that the red witch was fighting with the 5 witches and with Medusa, said the black-haired man. Medusa, oh fire witch, you've become strong, says in a playful tone. Kaguri, yes, she said, simply casting a fire spell, but Anoka, wall of shadows, said, so that a dark wall would rise, reversing the attack and disappear. 1. But what, he said when he sees a figure fall. Kaguri, who are you? He said threateningly, but the figure approaches the light, causing everyone to be in shock. Anoka, hello, Kaguri said coldly. Kaguri, oh, Anoka said in total shock. Anoka, what's happening? It's like you've seen a ghost. He said mockingly and looks at the other witches. Hey girls, it's been a while. He said, smiling, while the girls looked at him in amazement, even a jellyfish. Kaguri, seriously, you are my princess, she said with tears, while Anoka got a wound on her forehead. Anoka, no princess, or what 8 rooms, he said, annoyed. I'm only here for work matters, and that reminds me of something I always wanted to do to Kuraishi-sen, he said, taking her by the waist. Kuraishi, what do you think? Didn't finish being kissed by the black-haired man. Using his witch hat covering both of their faces, they separate, leaving the red-eyed witch with her eyes exhaled and all with their jaws on the ground. Anoka, call me later, sweetie, she said before disappearing, leaving everyone in shock, and then everyone, except Kaguri and Kuraishi, would scream. All, what the hell just happened? Chapter 10 Darkness is bad depending on who uses it. The next day, after Guardian Darkus put on that show, he spent the night watching over the city. Anoka, how strange, it's supposed to be Naga servants, he said from the top of a building. Well, it's better to go home, he said, jumping off the building to take out 2 wings. Embs of red that is purple. Starts to fly towards his house where his sister was. Anoka sees the sun starting to rise. I hate the light. In the home of the Guardians. Minato, why do I feel like hitting Anoka? He said, decapitating a test dummy. Back with Anoka. Feel a chill. Anoka, why do I feel like I just screwed up? She said, feeling a chill where she landed on the window. I'm here. Income statement. Dodges a knife that sticks in the wall, causing it to turn blue. Katsumi, Oni-chan, where were you? He said with a cheerful smile and an aura that would scare anyone. Anoka, I see, can explain this, he said, completely blue. Katsumi, oh yeah? Can you explain this to me? He takes out his cell phone and presses it a couple of times. He said, showing her a photo of him kissing Kuraishi. Anoka, or the Great Canada will take me, he thought, cursing. Katsumi, now either you explain this to me or I'll castrate you without anesthesia. Deja caressing the knife. Anoka, save yourself, who can? Runs out to get his friend in his pants. Katsumi, come back here, I will grape you until I get pregnant, and then I will castrate you, she said madly, making the Guardian of Darkness run faster. Anoka, why a yandere? Mentally screams while crying. A later chase. The black-haired man was leaning against a building in an alley, breathing heavily. Anoka, for extra, how the hell do women run so much when they get angry? He said, taking all the air he needed. I think I lost her, he said, sighing until he started to tremble. Oh, you have to be kidding me, he said, to see a portal in the center of the city. Well, maximum effort, he said, running again worse in the direction of the center of the city. In the center of the city, a stone falls from the portal, making a large crater that luckily most people had already left except for some witches. Which one? What the heck is that? She said curiously. Which two? It's a stone, don't you see? She said, rolling her eyes. Which 3? It's better to move it, she said slowly, because she began to see that the rock was moving. Which 4? Girls, she said nervously, until she saw insect legs coming out of the rock, showing that it was absolutely not a rock. Monster. Chia, he let out a monstrous high-pitched scream, making the witches cover their ears. Which 2? What the heck is that? Which 3? I don't know, but you have to. She doesn't finish because one of the legs crushes her like an ant. Which one? Keiyu-chan screamed in horror for her dead friend. Take this, throwing a rock stack at her, but the monster seemed to simply ignore it. Very well, my pet arrives at the home of the witch's workshop, said the voice. The beast simply continues moving forward. While at the base of the witch's workshop, everything was chaos. Several witches were running all over the place. Filler witch, the dress is getting closer and closer, she said in panic. Kasani, get all the civilians out, she said as she watched the big monster from afar from her office window. With Anoka, the darkest guardian, ran to where the monster was. Anoka, let's go, there's not much left, he said, running and jumping over buildings, but then he saw a familiar dragon and a girl he hated with all his soul. Kaguri, looking coldly at the monster, a great flame flashes across the monster's face, which seemed unfazed. Monster, Chia throws huge heavy rocks at the witch and the dragon, who were barely dodging. Anoka, destroying the pieces of rock that were dodging to avoid being hit by any civilian. As always, he doesn't care what's around him. Mezita, Chie jumps and crushes the dragon's head with his jaws. Kaguri, TSK jumps and falls into a building, makes a big ball of fire thanks to having the possession of the white witch. Her magic was more powerful, and passes it to the monster, which just eats it, and a little smoke comes out of its mouth. Monster, Chie roars, but then someone hits him hard on the head, burying him in the ground. Kaguri, my princess! Anoka saw the ASS. Roars in anger at her while a black sphere appeared in his hand. Shadow Ball, he said, hitting her head full on, making her squeal in pain. Anoka, what are you doing here? She said, seeing the 5 witches and Medusa. Kuraishi, Prevent this stuff from destroying everything. Anoka, are you sure it's not so I can give you another kiss? Smiling mischievously, causing the cat witch to blush red as a tomato. Kuraishi, idiot, she said, blushing. Medusa, wow, boy, you're more handsome, said the snake woman, smiling. Anoka, people change, then something occurs to him. Medusa, can you turn him into stone if we don't get close? Medusa, I would be offended if I couldn't petrify him, she said, smiling. Anoka, okay, this is the plan. I will attract them. Get ready. The witches and monster nod. Shadow ball. She throws it at her face again, destroying part of her teeth. Monster. Gia, he screamed in pain as he went towards the furious darkest guardian. Anoka, that's ugly Ben for me, he said, running while being followed by the monster. Let's go. There's not much left, he thought, but in that moment he is taken by the waist by none other than Kagari. What are you doing? Kagari, saving you, he said with a poker face. Anoka, let me go, stupid, he said, starting to force himself, letting go and falling into a building, and sees how the monster began to go in the opposite direction. Great, you ruined the plan. Angry. Kagari, I just wanted. Anoka, I don't give a shit what you wanted. You ruined a way to stop him, he said as a dark aura began to surround him. Kagari, for the first time in her life, the fire witch felt herself looking at someone else. Evermillion, brat, I suggest you stay away, said the voice of the white witch in the girl's mind. Kagari, but what is that? Evermillion, in all my millennia of existence I have never felt such great darkness, she said seriously. Anoka, quickly the guardian jumps on the building's darkest reactor, he said, so that the ground began to shine purple and the ground too. The guardian with his most noticeable aura hits the monster's back, hearing a crack on the monster's back, causing it to fall. Monster, Issei screamed in pain. Anoka lands and the monster turns its gaze to him, surprised son of a hitch. Monster, Issei loads a strange green sphere and throws it at the guard, who didn't have time to react, and it hits him squarely. Kagari, princess! Screamed in total shock. The other witches and Medusa had their hands on their mouths, but Anoka came out of the smoke with her suit like the other guardians. More or less like this, but in purple and with the darkest sign. Anoka, very well, ugly is all you have, he said, cracking his knuckles while the monster roared again at the guardian, launching itself head-on at him. Very well timed for the darkest attribute show. The darkest sign covers him, and he dresses with armor. Anoka, taking the beast's fangs and lifting it up, which surprised those present since that thing was like 1,000 kisses taller than him, but he lifted it like a feather and pulled out a fang and buried it in one of its eyes. Mountro, Issei roars in pain as Yani's mouth is bloody, part of her skin on her back is burned, and now she has one less eye. Anoka, very well, jumping and taking advantage of the reactor, darkest lands on the monster's head, burying it in the ground and breaking part of its skull, leaving its brain exposed. Bingo, Shadow Ball shoots it again and again in the exposed part, making the monster scream in pain, that finally falls to the ground. Phew, that was complicated, he said then, to see that everything returned to normal. Katsumi, Oni-chan, she said, shouting from a strange flying bicycle with a bear. Anoka, I should buy her a car, she said out loud, watching her land wearing her witch clothes. Katsumi, what did you do with my Oni-chan? Anoka, I'm sorry you don't recognize me, he said with false pain. Katsumi, Oni-chan? Anoka, the same. His sister hugs him, although with his armor he was about 2 meters tall. I'm fine now. Then he sees how several witches from both of them and their 2 leaders arrive. Oh motherbucker.
Let me know in the comments below if you guys want the next part. Also check out my other video that has been shown and left. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share this video. And have a fantastic day. Bye.